brought to you by the Blue Moon Guys. We accept full responsibility for lack of self-control during the show and encourage you to let out your crazy, sit back, relax, and let the insanity begin.
Whoa, we are back.
Hello.
Anybody had any good chats lately? All right, who we got with us? Oh, Elvis and Friends is back. Hello, Patricia. Nice to see you with us. We got 2 online right now. It says we got 8 watching, 9 watching. Lori, there's Lori. You went up for some more Elvis today? I'm always up for some good Elvis. There's Lily. We're gonna have fun today. A little bit of Elvis in the Army years. Hey, Miss Beers. Hello, everyone. Satin, and hello, Satin, and Susan's back. Okay, I gotta adjust that. It's like picking up all my breathing lately. Either that or I've just been breathing.
Wait, here we go.
Hey! That's good. We got some new stuff today. We're gonna have some fun. So I think what we ended on, we had to leave early, but we had to leave because of the inside the studio. But so we've pretty much closed out any of the books for the Colonel except for Peter Gronik's next week. So we'll go through that one. Then we'll hit on to Priscilla. But I think what I'll do is I'll start doing a poll of just voting which book everybody wants to do next. I'll just pick some books and we'll go for it, or take suggestions. Everybody's got some good suggestions. Because I want to do the Child Bride with the Priscilla deal, because I'm going to have that read. I'm almost halfway through it. Wanted to do it all in one trip, but it's just not that easy anymore. I can't stay awake much that long trying to read a book. I usually get past. I usually fall asleep after I read the word forward.
You mean you got to split the 2-page introduction into 4 weeks?
I know. Really. Who else we got? Anybody else join us yet? Ooh, Eb Engel. Hello, Eb. Where are you from, Eb? I think you've been on here before, haven't you? The name looks familiar. I try to remember everybody's names, but the more we get, your YouTube audience says 58% of people are not subscribed, but they watch my videos. Is there anyone on here? Don't know about that one. That's usually the case with all the all right, so in homage to a really good friend of ours, Rick falling asleep. That doesn't take any cue at all. So to get this show started, I really need some advice. Are we gonna go with the pink pen, or are we gonna go with the green pen? I really need to know. It will make the show if we pink or green. I don't know how many people will get that, but we're wired. We're ready to go. Hard, too many. Good Lord, look at me. Green for PG. Oh, I know who Eb is. How many different aliases are you going to use? Purple? Eb? Lori goes laughing at that. I can't believe that.
Lori got you.
Yeah, Lori got it. What I was going to do is print some pictures and paste Priscilla on that one, the Colonel on that one. Anyway, yeah. Now I got something to take my notes with. All right, we're wired. It's Saturday night and it just got paid. We're gonna have some fun. I've never really watched these definitive Elvis complete collection, so I've enjoyed it so far. It's got a little, it gets us into discussions. But the one we had Tuesday night was really good. The one with when he returned to Tupelo. So I'm hoping I can find more than that. But I don't think it hurts too bad to get into some every once in a while. Pop in one that's kind of a. I'm not going to ever do one that's just a stupidly made video that all it does is attack Elvis. But there are some ones out there that are kind of interesting, and it's kind of fun to have a good laugh when Joe pops up on the screen every now and then. Hey, look, he got out of the car wash today. Why did he put green all over the jungle room den? Huh? He did have a green shirt in the 50s. Well, okay, I got to start paying attention to the conversation here. We're talking about Elvis loved pink, hated green. Where do you get that he hated green? Haven't you ever seen that picture where he's sitting there in the backyard with that green shirt from the 50s? He's wearing that green shirt. What is the name of that? It's like from Elvis to Hollywood to Memphis or Hollywood to. I'm gonna find that. It's a real.
What color rug should he have put in the jungle room? It wouldn't have been the jungle room if it had a brown rug or a red rug or any other color than green. It added to the tropical effect with the waterfall against the wall and the animal furniture, and it would have looked completely out of place if it was any other color.
I'll have to find that book. Yeah, he wore green quite often. I don't know. Yeah. I don't know where you got that. He didn't like green. I've never heard he wore it in Vegas. Yeah, that's right. He had that green. What do they call it? The brocade? He had that green brocade. He had green belts.
So 𝐃𝐨𝐬𝐬, what color did you pick? Purple or green? Pink or green?
Kirsty, see that? I don't know. Kirsty got it right.
No, she didn't. She wasn't here yet.
Oh, she wasn't here.
No.
Kirsty, are we going with the pink pen or are we going with the green pen today? Hey, then for you, any. I don't know if purple gets it.
No.
She's not getting it.
But Kirsty did. She said pink.
I don't have any. I don't have any 68 special ones. So listen.
Lori, Lori, stop.
I'm just a hunger burn love. I'm just a hunger burn love.
We're ready to rock and roll here, man. We're having fun. Rockstar, his peacock jumpsuit had. That's right. And so did that was kind of a turquoise one. The now jumpsuit.
Yeah.
But yeah, the peacock suit had green. Yeah. Bluish green. Yeah.
Yeah, and he had that other one that's
a reliable source there.
That one suit he used to wear that was black and it had the green on the front of the jacket. Yeah. You know that shot I'm referring to is standing in front of an elevator or something.
Yeah. Priscilla also says that let's see. She says that Lisa Marie was at camp when Elvis died. She was at home and she didn't know how she was going to tell him that he had died. She had a cell phone in her car back in 1977 before they made cell phones. She could hear the phone ringing in her house as she's driving into her driveway. What else was there? There's all kinds of stupid shit. We're giving Elvis and Fred a hard time. We're just having fun, buddy. You know, it's just if you go, you cannot really go off of. Yeah, she's as bad as Geller. You know, the thing about Geller is, I'll tell you about. Look at this. We've already gotten off the subject. The thing about Geller is, I don't think Geller really tells lies. What are you mocking me?
Geller.
Oh yeah. Geller likes to not so much as enhance the story. He's very dramatic about the story, and it's like this. Okay, we're gonna get a little Barry White here. So I just had to be the last one to touch Elvis's forehead just before they lowered the casket lid. Get my head out of there. That's Geller. No, trust me, I've only had coffee. If anybody has any ideas. Thanks, Cam. That made me feel better. Geller always puts a Hindu spin there. That's the perfect combination. That is the perfect. Yeah, we always. I kind of went with the Swami, but that's
Hindu spin.
Yeah, and then the great story of them all, the one that says, and Parker told me, he says, no matter what you do,
you have to remember
what
the finger.
You do. Oh,
The only thing that's important
is that man is on the stage tonight.
Nothing.
I got a dirty, dirty feeling.
Oh, Jesus. Okay, we got a movie to watch. So anyway, Kirsty actually, I hope you guys can join us tomorrow for the live show, for the stream tomorrow, because we're going to do the voting on the picture. And she submitted a really cool collage. Wait a minute, Rick, what did you have for lunch and dinner? You're on a roll. Well, trust me, it wasn't alcohol, because I really don't, contrary to what some people have said out there in the YouTube world, I do not drink that much alcohol at all.
What have you been drinking between shows?
I know. To be honest with you, I think I know what it is. I know why I'm feeling nice and just kind of cool is, I mentioned this in the other shows, that last night the doctors came in and did a test, kind of almost like a sleep study, and they wanted to monitor some medication, because I was starting to, my blood pressure was starting to raise on it, and they'd given me new one. They think it was interacting. So, and I have in-home visits for stuff like that. So they came in and I still got to laugh about it. So they came in and they, I had to be off that one prescription for 24 hours or so before they could put me on a new one to monitor my blood pressure and all. So they gave me this other pill to help me to go to sleep, because I don't sleep much. I sleep 2 hours here, 2 hours there, 2 hours there, and occasionally, if I'm fortunate, I'll get about a 5 or 6 hour nap. So, nap. Anyway, so they gave me my one pill, and then they gave me one pill to go to sleep. Well, that pill, I don't like taking medication, period. Much less, painkillers or anything like that. I'll take an aspirin if I have a headache. They gave me this pill, and I had a glass of water, and actually, it wasn't a pill, it was a liquid. So they gave me the liquid, and I took the water, and I went to, because it tasted crappy, took a sip of water, and the next thing I knew, I woke up the next morning with the glass still in my hand resting on the desk. And it was like 6 hours later. I didn't even freaking budge. So I don't know if the new prescription they put me on is just making me feel good right now, but it's making me feel good now. So I'm enjoying it.
Roxy. The other positive is, thank goodness you didn't move, because can you imagine if that glass had toppled over onto your laptop?
There was nothing left in it.
Oh,
I had taken all the water and it was just a glass. There really was no water left in it. There might have been a drop or two, but yeah. Well, I've got a cover on my keyboard too. I got this vinyl cover over the top of it. So anyway, that's my dear one named Rockstar. So we got Geller reminds me of a character from Star Trek. Nothing else matters. All right, so we've entertained. We've gone off into Priscilla. We got off into Geller. We touched base a little bit on JoJo. So let's just get into the movie. I want to know what I was saying. So we got the live show tomorrow, the live stream tomorrow at 1, and we're voting on the picture we're going to put into the flowers that we got, and Kirsty's got a really nice collage that's going to be submitted too. I think we might have one or two of those and some pictures. And what she actually did, and I actually think this is going to be the one that takes it, because we got some good pictures. So she collaged all the pictures that were submitted into one collage. Actually, you know what? It's not going to hurt to show it, because we're not voting till tomorrow. And where did she send that to me? She sent it to me on Discord. So let me see if I can download it here.
5 minutes later.
5 minutes later. Yeah, I tell you what, this is really cool. I like this. Save image, save it on my desktop. All right, guys, I love this. I think this is the winner. But I told everybody I would let everybody. Have you seen this yet, Cam?
No.
Check it out. Is that better, guys? I got to put us in that other one. For some reason, that went down to that. So y'all see this, right?
I like this.
Yeah. Everybody, just put your thoughts down in there. I'm gonna leave it here in the corner a little bit. I'll cover me up. We'll keep Cam, baby, right there. I love it. I love it, love it, love it, love it.
That looks awesome.
Okay, is that better, guys? Yeah, I forgot. I created a scene to display stuff, and I forgot. In order for you guys to hear me, I had to put Cam and I in there, and I don't know why I forgot to. It's a brand new scene, and I never finished it today, and for some reason, just loaded right up into it. All right, guys. Hey, so hey, let's get to the movie. Tomorrow I've got 2 new features. I know I keep saying this. Tomorrow I've got a couple of things I'm going to really be promoting tomorrow. And I should say promoting. That's not the proper word. I'm highlighting. As those of you have followed me for a while, you know Leslie does some really cool artwork. It's Bejeweled Creations. I can't remember the name of it right now. I always mess up on the name because I've got a web page and I'm taking to the pages to create for followers or anybody that's an Elvis fan is part of this community that does artwork that's related to Elvis. Now, some of you out there, Lori knows this person. Her name is 𝐾𝐿VI, and I spoke to her this week, and she gave me a presentation for her stuff. She might pop into the chat tomorrow too. But she does some beautiful artwork. It's jewelry, not artwork. It's jewelry, and it's all Elvis related, and some of it is authenticated. She's got some necklaces that has a strand of hair from Elvis, all authenticated. So she's got stuff that's actually related, connected to Elvis. You know, like there was a time when they released an album, a four album set called The Other Sides. And what they did is the initial, I don't know how many they put, they had taken a bunch of clothing that belonged to Elvis and they cut it up into little squares and they stuck a piece in everything. So I don't know how much of that was left over. It sounds like she might have gotten a hold of some of that, but it's beautiful artwork. And she did a beautiful PowerPoint presentation, and I'm going to feature that on my webpage. And then what you'll be able to do is just you'll be able to take a look at it, and if you're interested in anything, you can click on the picture. It'll take you right to her site where she sells it. My page, I unpublished it right now because I'm updating the whole thing, and I'm hoping to have it done in the next week. I've got about half of it done, but it's going to feature Leslie's art, and it's going to feature her art, and then of course the Blue Moon Radio and all the stuff that we do. Elvis-A-Z is the website. Very simple, Elvis-A-Z. So I'm excited about sharing that with everybody, and you all seeing what she has. I met her through Lori Beers, and she actually doesn't live very far from here. She lives over in Alabama, so that's. If I started right now, I could probably crawl there in about 3 weeks. She makes jewelry from leftover bolts of fabric. Oh, bolts of fabric. I just saw the bolts of fabric from RCA. She has many pieces. So we're going to do a little bit of that. We're going to do the vote, and then we're going to get into the book, Careless Love. We're almost finished with that book too. So we're going to we got some new books to start. Actually, we could pick a non-Colonel Priscilla book for the Sunday chat. Because we've already done Last Train to Memphis, and we've also, why did I almost forget this? We also will be giving away tomorrow. It'll be a gift. You'll have to put your name into the hat. It's real simple to do. You'll just type like whatever I put in there. It'll be like pound or hashtag. I don't know why I say pound. It's hashtag these days. Hashtag and whatever number whatever I put in there, book or something like that. And you put it in there, and it'll spin and spin and spin, and it'll land on a person. I'm giving away, it's brand spanking new, the book by Lisa and Riley, signed by Riley. So we're giving that away tomorrow. We're going to do, and that's all in honor or in thanks for helping me get to 25,000 subscribers this last week. And I've already got, it's only been 2 weeks. I already got another 200 on top of that. So we're giving that away tomorrow. So we got a busy day tomorrow. So come in as early as you can. I'll do the giveaway towards the end, or somewhere towards the middle. I won't do it right at the beginning because some people can't drop in until a little bit later. And then we'll have our usual start off talking about the book and finish off talking about Star Trek or the new Final Destination movie. I'm just checking to see who's on with us real quick. All right. Well, I think I've covered the basics of that. So let's get to the movie. This is called The Definitive Elvis Part 5, The Army Years. Here we go.
In the mid-1950s, a cultural explosion took place that would define the decade like nothing that had come before it, throwing young women into a frenzy and setting the world on its ear. And it had a name.
Elvis Presley. Elvis Presley. Elvis Presley. Elvis Presley.
He was the world's biggest superstar, a king both in name and in lifestyle.
I was getting used to the movie star bit, you know. I had dark glasses on, you know, sitting in the back of the Cadillac limousine. I'm a movie star. I'm a zombie. Hey. So I did that, you know. I was living that, man. And I got drafted. So overnight, it was all gone, man. It was like it was a dream, you know. I was like, was that me? Did it happen?
I got those 1, 2, 3, 4 occupation GI Blue. From my GI hat to the heels of my GI shoes.
I think this might feature Joe a little bit.
In 1956, when a young truck driver named Elvis Presley burst onto the rock and roll map with his single Heartbreak Hotel, the teenagers of the world had finally found their touchstone.
Well, I am so lonely I could die.
A rock and roll god whose mannerisms and style boys would copy for generations to come, and whose suggestive eyes and rolling hips would send millions of young women into spasms of delight and their parents into a frenzy of disapproval.
That's a phenomenal thing. You know, this was a global phenomena in the way that it changed every kid's life, every boy's life, not to mention every girl's life. The idea of just looking like Elvis, whether you did or not, became very important. And your hair became his hair, you know? And if you didn't have the right hair, it was not going to happen. And whoever did got the women, you know?
There were a lot of girls and boys and men and women, and they would rush him. And sure, anybody, I would be worried and concerned about that because he could get hurt. And he may have gotten hurt some of the time. I think they jerked his shirts off and things like this, you know, grabbing for him.
These men come down here from New York and from Florida to find out my reasons on rock and roll music and why I preach against it, and I believe with all of my heart. If you talk to the average teenager of today and you ask them what it is about rock and roll music that they like, and the first thing they'll say is the beat, the beat, the beat.
We thought he had way too many girls clamoring around at that time. The excitement of knowing that you're doing well and that people like him, it's rewarding. At the same time, it's kind of okay, that time is up now, let me take him and go home. Yeah. And that didn't happen.
But in 1958, Elvis faced an even bigger threat to his standing as the nation's foremost rebel.
Congratulations, you are now in the Army. You're all fighters. That's the way you will be addressed from now on.
The United States government had seen fit to embrace Elvis Presley in the only way it could, by drafting him into its army.
We all saw him off, and his mom was there, and his dad, and some other fans were there, and he hugged me last. And I was trying not to cry because I did not want him to see me leave crying. You know, I was trying to smile. It was hard. It was difficult. I could not, my heart was being just torn away. And it was very hard to see him leave.
When he did get his notice, I'm sure he was not too happy. I mean, when you think you're the biggest star in the world at the time, and all of a sudden the Army says, hey, we want you. I mean, you can't feel too good.
Elvis Presley no longer has that rock and roll beat. The tempo is 1, 2, 3, 4 for Private Presley. He's at Camp Chaffee, Arkansas, beginning his 2-year Army hitch courtesy of the Memphis Draft Board. Like any ex-civilian raw recruit, the king of rock and roll will be keeping time to non-hip bugle calls. Involuntarily retired, the gyrating guitarist's departure from the public eye left his blue jean fans all shook up, so we hear. But Elvis doesn't seem to mind at all.
Elvis's induction was more than just news to the American public. It was prime-time entertainment.
Elvin Pelvin drafted. Rock and roll idol to be GI. Elvin sent to Fort Dix under guard.
Who the fuck is Elvin?
In the days before his induction, as parents all over the country looked on gleefully at the process that would take away their children's idol for the next 2 years, that idol was readying himself for what was to be one of the most traumatic days in his young life. He had already decided to rob the press and public alike of at least one vicarious thrill associated with his new status as America's foremost draftee: the shearing of the famous greasy Presley locks into a regulation Army crew cut.
I don't know if Elvis has haircut.
Hey Lily, I'm going to show a presentation tomorrow with her stuff, but I'll take us to her website here in a little bit, because she sent me the link, I think.
Haircut for in the Army, because I didn't know him before then, okay? But it looked like he did. Knowing him, he probably had a nice, clean, little shorter haircut than normal, than having to cut so much off from one extreme to another so much. And he probably did that. Knowing Elvis, he thought about those kinds of things. He knew he was going to be filmed and videoed. They got to make sure he looks good on camera.
Elvis spent the 3 days after his formal induction at Fort Chaffee, Arkansas, where he was given his various inoculations, his uniform and duffel bag, his Army aptitude tests, and most importantly, his eagerly awaited and long-dreaded 65-cent haircut. He also gave his first ever salute to a battery of cameras that had been allowed to follow him through the induction process due to the arrangements of Colonel Tom Parker.
Elvis being drafted, I thought it was very unusual because, you know, I figured a big star like him would never get drafted in the service, but he did. And I think Colonel was smart. He's saying, hey, go do your 2 years. I'll keep your name out there and interest in you, and don't do special services because they're going to come after you to do special service. Serve your 2 years. And it was a great move.
From Arkansas, Elvis was transported to Fort Hood, Texas, where he began his basic training with A Company, 2nd Tank Battalion, 2nd Armored Division. Though Elvis was taking all of this in decidedly good...
I'm watching this conversation about jewelry, and people making their own. I'm sorry. I gotta leave it. Never mind, I can't do it.
Public humor, behind closed doors and away from the press, he was truly miserable. He had gone from the sumptuous confines and safe haven of Graceland to a numbered bunk in a barracks with dozens of other faceless and nameless recruits. Though his array of cars would be waiting for him in the civilian world, he now had to make do with a regulation Army Jeep. And as for his obsession with clothes, the Army would see to it that he would be dressed in the finest olive drab that money could buy. Though Elvis's transformation from worldwide superstar to buck private was not fun for the young rock and roller, it was tolerable. There was, however, at least one person upon whom the entire affair would have a devastating effect. Gladys Presley had always been her son's #1 fan, friend, and confidant in the years leading up to his emergence as the most powerful performer the world had ever seen.
Yeah, I just double-checked it, Jack. It was the 3rd Armored Division. You're right. They're wrong.
and the
Yeah, it was
prospect
too.
of being separated from him for 2 long years was more than she could bear. With Elvis gone, first to his career demands and now to his Army training, Gladys increasingly relied on alcohol as a means of coping with this latest crisis in her life.
No, you guys talk all you want. I was being the typical Rick and trying to be stupid, and I decided I'm not gonna go that route. It might be a little too creepy, so.
Though most
The way
people
I've
would
been
have
today,
seen
it's just like,
Graceland as the culmination of a
not
lifelong
only have
dream,
2 viewers
to Gladys
tomorrow.
Presley, it was a gilded prison that removed her from the places and people she found most familiar by creating a social wall around her, which would be impossible to climb. While Elvis's hordes of fans desperately longed to enter the gates of the antebellum mansion, Gladys wanted nothing more than to leave them and Elvis's fame behind her
Lily's
forever.
putting you on the spot.
As her sister Lillian later put it, a woman from the hills of Mississippi
Okay,
is only interested
I gotta do it. So I used to do a lot of crafts and stuff like that, a little bit larger stuff, and not jewelry, not really into jewelry, but I used to do picture frames and make picture frames and all that. But there was one friend of mine, he had the weirdest freaking business. His father was what do they call it, a mortician.
Mm-hmm.
His father wound up going to jail for this. But he would give his son the teeth from the bodies. The guy would make necklaces out of himself.
Oh my God.
And he sold them. People would buy them. This is up in North Georgia. So his father went to prison. He went to prison or jail. When I say prison, he went to jail for 6 months or something like that. Something short. And I just got to thinking about that when that's just, I'm talking 30 years ago.
Going so far.
Most of the people don't realize that Elvis was not a drinker. He did not like alcohol. In fact, when I first went to work for him, there was no alcohol allowed in the house. I mean, no wine, no hard booze, no beer. And I come to find out over the years that it was because apparently a lot of his mother, Gladys, the Smith side, were a lot of drinkers. And he just didn't like that, didn't like people drunk.
For Elvis's part, he threw himself into this new endeavor with a zeal that few would have thought possible, given his status as the lightning rod of rock and roll rebellion.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, hey, Jack.
On the preliminary aptitude tests earned him a place in the Fifth Army's coveted tank corps, known as Hell on Wheels. This was largely due to the advice of Colonel Tom Parker, who had told his young charge early on that the world would be watching his every move, and that the best way to ensure his status upon leaving the service was to be the most gung-ho, spit-and-polished draftee the Army had ever seen. The Army, however, was still fighting to have Elvis placed in one of its special services units, where his skills as an entertainer could be maximized to the Army's benefit. The fight went on until the 11th hour, with the Pentagon threatening to do as it pleased with its new recruit and the colonel stubbornly resisting the military at every turn. The battle over Private Presley finally ended when the colonel preemptively released photos and news information about Elvis's assignment to the Hell on Wheels battalion, stressing that Elvis was reveling in his new job. That effectively stopped the Army dead in its tracks, for it could not afford the outcry that would ensue if Presley were assigned to a cushy entertainment job after the banner headlines announcing his normal soldier status. And the Pentagon's top brass had to admit that they had been outmaneuvered by an honorary colonel in a straw hat and Hawaiian shirt. The first 8 weeks of Elvis's Army hitch began, as for all soldiers, with basic training. Once again, Elvis showed the world and the Army what he was made of by enduring the daily 5-mile hikes and various physical and mental challenges so well that by the end of it all, he had been lifted to the post of acting sergeant, the highest honor a draftee could receive during training.
That's how I met Elvis. I was at Fort Hood, and I went over.
Hey, here's Kate Smith.
I said, I'm Charlie
Yeah.
Hodge. I was a lead singer with the Party Room Board. And he said, hey, man, I used to watch you every Saturday night on TV. You know.
I can't get
I
used to
think
that
our
hair
friendship
color.
was a natural
No.
friendship, because when we met there at Fort Hood and got on the ship going to Europe, we knew the same people in the gospel field. We knew the same people in the country field. You know, like Wanda Jackson was on our show, and she was Miss Rockabilly. And Elvis always wanted to date her, you know. And so we
He
had a lot
looks
of
like
Due to the rigorous training he was now undergoing, Elvis had not yet moved his friends and family out to Texas to join him, but he was not alone in the Lone Star State. Eddie Fadal, a Texas sports announcer who had emceed one of Presley's concerts in the mid-50s, now opened his home as a...
I don't think that was his hair. It looked bleached. It doesn't look blonde. It's bleached.
No, that's bleached.
You know,
It's got a yellow hue to it.
He didn't get married till long after Elvis died. He was never married until then.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm.
Wow. That's dedication.
His widow lives up here in Pigeon Forge. That's where I met Charlie, was up in Pigeon Forge. Pigeon Forge, not Gatlinburg's in. Pigeon Forge is up. So he used to perform with a guy named Eddie Miles. Really good, really good. I'm not a big ETA fan at all, but Eddie Miles did a really good show. He would do half Elvis and he would do a show of his own. Well, Charlie used to go up there and perform with him for a long time. And when Eddie had to retire, Charlie hung around for the other guys, some Voodoo who sucked big time. But Eddie was really good. He very professional, wasn't all blown out of proportion. And but you got to Google it if you have a chance. Google Eddie Miles and Charlie Hodge, because Charlie sang harmony with Elvis on "I Will Be Home Again." So they do a version of it live on the show, and Eddie sits down with a guitar, and it sounds just like the original. I mean, it's incredible because of the harmonies. It's beautiful. But I got a chance. I used to go. I had a condo there, so I probably 4 or 5 times I went there and I met. I got the chance to talk to Charlie after the show because he'd go out there. And he signed the book that he had written. I got it. Well, that got lost. So his widow, a year ago or 2 years ago, decided to have the books reprinted because they were out of print, and she sells them. You can get them on eBay. Well, you got to get them from her because people buy them and have been marking up the prices. So, and she's got a Facebook page where you can find out about it on Charlie Hodge's fan page. So in fact, I gave one of them away once on my channel. But anyway, his hair was as dark as could be when I met him.
Safe haven for America's most famous draftee.
Daddy reacquainted himself with Elvis a few months later here in Waco, Texas, when Elvis played a concert at the Heart of Texas Coliseum. And he went backstage to meet him. And he said, "Do you remember me?" And lo and behold, Elvis had remembered him. And my father was always very generous, and he said, kind of off the cuff, "Come visit me sometime in my home. I'd love to have you. My wife would cook for you. We'd love to have you in our family." And it was just a standing offer. And in 1958, when Elvis became stationed at Killeen, Texas, he did just that. He would come visit our family on the weekends and just show up unexpectedly. He would never call first. He would just drop in. He would bring his friends, his entourage, his girlfriend at the time, Anita Wood, and pile in the house. And my mother, who would be running around in her robe and her house shoes or whatever, would suddenly run, go back and put a dress on and start cooking. There was never a dull moment at that time.
With his initial training complete, Elvis was now free to move his entourage into the home he had rented for them in nearby Killeen. True to form, Elvis reshaped his surroundings to suit his own individual tastes and needs. This meant that his favorite foods had to be on hand at any given hour, that entire rooms would have to be altered to resemble those in Graceland, and that the family atmosphere, which was so important to him, would have to be maintained. His off-base life now comfortable, Elvis set about the task of becoming a tank gunner blasting his way to the top of his class and earning the right to be an instructor, a rare honor for a mere private. His happiness would be short-lived, however. After moving into the home in 𝐃𝐨𝐧𝐚𝐭𝐞, Gladys Presley's health took an immediate turn for the worse. Though she had felt isolated within the columned splendor of Graceland, the flat, barren wasteland of south central Texas, and the lonely hours away from Elvis
see you later,
only
Elvis and
exacerbated
friends.
her feelings of dread and despair.
Thanks for being by.
The Army had finally managed to sever what rock and roll could not. The umbilical cord between mother and son had begun to disintegrate, leaving Elvis a man and Gladys an emotional wreck. Vernon's personality did nothing to help her in her time of crisis, so Mrs. Presley turned to alcohol, drinking straight vodka to assuage her suffering. She had also begun to take high doses of amphetamines, which...
There's so many different stories. Did she drink a lot? I don't know.
But I've heard Billy talk about it, and Billy said she never drank to excess.
Yeah, he said she'd have a beer or two, is what he said, yeah.
Yeah, he said before when Elvis was around, she never drank, it never bothered her. But then he said when Elvis went to the Army, then she started having a beer now and again. But he said, like, to today's standards, he said it was nothing of alcoholic proportion.
Yeah, I don't think she ever gave me the impression of an alcoholic. And usually alcoholics, as a rule, are not heavy people. I mean, there are that, you know, have some weight on them. But as a rule, usually alcoholics don't have an appetite. And I just speak that from of experience with relatives of mine. But then, I don't know. I'm not a doctor either.
In conjunction with her drinking, began to take a terrible toll on her health, both mentally and physically.
It's something like that.
Suspected that Vernon was seeing other
she was
women,
going through. You
and
never
one
know.
night, in a drunken rage, she knocked him unconscious with an iron skillet.
Whoa!
Have you ever heard that before?
No.
Has anybody ever heard that she knocked Vernon out with an iron skillet?
If those two statements are true, it would explain why he hitched up with Dee so soon, and secondly, that would explain where Elvis got his temper from.
Yeah, I you know, in every book I've ever read, I've never heard of her ever being violent like that, ever.
No,
I've heard where she would get angry and spew off, you know, but I've never heard of her being.
Oh, okay, Kirsty. Yeah, that's a first for me. I didn't know that.
I read that.
I knew she.
Well,
I'd heard stories from like Billy where he said that. Oh yeah, his aunt Gladys had a temper that was.
Yeah, I've heard about a temper.
Akin
Well,
to.
I don't know. I just never heard about it with a skillet. But
wow,
you know, she cooked a lot. You know, she could have said very well. Had one in her hand one day and just swung around. You know.
Yeah, well, if she did catch Vernon snooping around,
he was known for doing that too.
And then it would kind of warrant getting a smack upside the head with something of something of substance.
I find out so much stuff on this channel, and I'm just like, where the hell have I been? If I've read it, it probably just, I just don't remember it.
Oh yeah, that's right. Satnan just reminded me of something. Saw. I also remember seeing an interview where Lamar was saying one time in the house he was there, and there was a slight verbal scuffle between Vernon and Gladys, and it escalated. And he said it got so bad that he as Lamar had to duck under the table because Gladys was throwing things at Vernon, and Vernon was.
Did she hear a body hit the floor? That's not even funny. It's I just get surprised. I guess I'm just disappointed. Not disappointed. I guess I'm just sad if it's true. It just saddens me because it just kind of changed. It doesn't change my perspective and what I think. I think she was in a situation. I mean, she lost. I can understand losing a child because I've lost a child, and I understand. And it was near birth, and that's hard. You live that's in your mind forever. And then of course now,
and then
Vernon child is thrown to the world, and having everybody after him.
And then also remember at that time too, when Vernon got his ass hauled off to the penitentiary, Elvis was very young too.
Yeah,
and they were going through hard times. So it must have been, I can kind of understand why Gladys was the kind of person she was, if at all any of this is 100% true, or even why she would have a temper, because at the end of the day, she was the only person that was around that could protect herself and protect her baby.
If she was drinking, a lot of people who react to alcohol with tempers. You got people that are just like, they drink and they just go, they crash. Then you got your ones that are violent drunks, that are react not violently, but just react, with some sort of violence, I guess. Sad.
Caused her to collapse on her bed, where Elvis's friend Lamar Fike found her skin turning yellow, a sure sign of liver damage. After informing bodyguard Red West of the situation, the two then sat Elvis down to try and get him to transport his mother back to Memphis for treatment. Elvis refused.
Yeah.
He had seen his mother in this state before. He had even found her drunk on more than one occasion. It was, he said, nothing new. And besides, he needed Mama in Texas. Gladys's health would soon cause even Elvis to rethink this idea. In early August 1958, Mrs. Presley's body could no longer take the strain it was being subjected to. She could no longer stand without assistance. Her skin took on a grayish-yellow tinge, and she was retaining so much fluid that it was causing unbearable pain in her right side. After seeing a local doctor, Gladys, accompanied by Vernon, was transported by train to Memphis, where she entered Methodist Hospital. Doctors drained 1.5 gallons of fluid from her abdomen, an indicator that her liver and kidneys were no longer functioning due to the damage caused by her heavy drinking. Back in Killeen, Elvis, who had not been able to secure a weekend pass, was racked with guilt over his apparent lack of interest in his mother's health and his enthusiastic pursuit of tank training.
Elvis wasn't in Germany yet when his mother died. He didn't go to Germany until after she died. Just Purple Green, or 𝐿VIS-THE, which is how they moved. His mother never went to Germany.
By August 11th, Gladys was drifting in and out of consciousness, repeatedly asking for Elvis. Elvis had requested an emergency leave, but in a callous move, the officer of the day denied that request on the grounds that Presley's mother wasn't dead yet. This sent Elvis into a frenzy, and he told his sergeant that he would go AWOL to get to his mother's side.
That's what they said to him?
Yeah, that would send me over the edge too. No, you can.
Having wisely and calmly advised Elvis that the Army would likely jail him for his offense, his sergeant then told Elvis to have his mother's doctor call the base commander. Within 2 hours, he was on a plane to Memphis, while the officer who had denied his leave was disciplined.
Wow.
Elvis arrived at Memphis Methodist at 7:45 p.m. that night. His mother brightened up at the sight of her only son as they conversed in a baby talk language, with Gladys referring to Elvis as her whittle itty bitty and Elvis referring to his mother as his Satnin. This form of communication was one that they had always shared and one that entirely excluded Vernon. Late that evening, Gladys ordered Elvis to go home and get some sleep. He protested, but his father agreed with his mother, and Elvis was sent home to rest. Elvis returned to Graceland and slipped out of his uniform and into bed, falling into a fitful sleep. At 3 a.m., the phone rang. Elvis knew what it was before his cousin Billy Smith took the call. Gladys Love Presley, the one person he could not live without, was gone.
So early.
Her funeral would be one of the most traumatic events in Elvis's life. He grieved loudly, wailing over her lifeless body in the hospital, and later openly crying on the steps of Graceland with his father, in full view of the ever-present media. When her body was laid out in its coffin inside the stately mansion, Elvis spent hours massaging her feet, which he called her sooties, continuing their private language, even in death. The day of her burial, Elvis repeatedly said, "Everything I have is gone."
He was devastated when his mother died. I just can see him at the funeral home that day. He was just absolutely devastated. I've never seen anybody go through a death in the family that took it any harder than he did. And I'm sure he felt that he had lost his best friend, which she had been all of his life.
After his 30-day leave, Presley returned to Fort Hood a noticeably changed man. Though he had never been a boisterous soldier, he had always been gregarious. But his mother's death left him silent and withdrawn.
You know, you wonder if that's the moment that really changed him, instead of just entering the Army and coming home.
Well, Billy said that too. Billy said when his mama died, she took a big part of him with her. He said he was never the same again. He said there were sparks of it, but he was never the carefree jokester that he was when his mama was still around. He said that
The 50s was gone.
Yeah, he said there were sparks of it. He said, but he knew the day his mama left, it's like he went with her.
Soon enough, he was ordered to ship out to Germany, where he would be stationed at the Army's base in Friedberg with Company D, 1st Battalion, 32nd Armored Division. It was a different Elvis Presley that faced the cameras on the eve of his departure.
Elvis, do the other soldiers give you a rough time because you're famous?
No, sir, I was very surprised. I've never met a better group of boys in my life. They probably would have if it'd been like everybody thought. I mean, everybody thought I wouldn't have to work and I would be given special treatment and this and that. But when they looked around and saw I was on KP and I was pulling guard and everything just like they were, well, they figured, well, he's just like us.
Elvis, you don't get out of the Army until 1960. If rock and roll should diminish in popularity or even disappear, what would you do? Well, I would probably try acting. I mean, you know, I would try to make good as an actor, although it's a tough field to break into, acting, because you've got so much competition.
Elvis, what do you think about going to Germany?
Well, sir, I'm kind of looking forward to it. I mean, just before I came in the Army, we were planning a tour of Europe. And I got quite a bit of mail from over there and everything, you know, and I'm kind of looking forward to it, really.
On the way over to Germany on the ship, at night, I could hear Elvis start grieving sometimes at night, and I'd get out of my bunk and sit down and start talking to him, and maybe joking with him a little bit, get him in a little better mood, and he'd drift off to sleep. And he said years later.
Oh, wow, that's great, Jeff. For you,
Elvis, it
90
hadn't
years
been
old.
since you kept me sane all the way across the ocean.
He said when he went in the Army, I think he said he was on a ship, and he could not show his feelings in front of the other guys. And he said at night, after everybody, he made sure everybody was asleep, he'd put all the pillows over his head and cry for the loss of his mom, because that was a very painful thing for him.
Upon his arrival in Germany, Elvis was greeted by the same pandemonium that had been his steady companion since 1956. 16-year-old 𝐃𝐸𝐲𝐸 almost snagged the first European autograph from Presley on the gangplank of the troop ship. Though Elvis gamely tried to oblige, the duffel bag he carried was just too cumbersome, leaving him trying to write with his left hand. Presley and his fellow soldiers were whisked away as rapidly as possible by a troop train that would take them directly into the base. But Private Presley was still no normal soldier. Normal soldiers didn't require armed guards to get them to their barracks. In a replay of the firestorm of coverage that greeted his induction, the European media and fans now took their turn, not even allowing him the time to lie down on his bunk without it being cause for a photo op. Once again, Elvis handled the attention with the good humor he displayed back in the States. And once again, he transported his family and friends to his post to make himself feel as at home as possible.
Colonel Parker would never let Elvis appear on American Bandstand, certainly not for After Scale. I think it was $150 or something. Unbelievable. For that amount of money, he should have been on 2 or 3 times. But he did allow us to talk to him on the phone because he wanted to keep his audience aware of the fact that Elvis was recording and his music would be available. So we talked to him in Germany.
Hello, Elvis?
Hello, Dick, how are you?
Fine, thank you. Where on earth are you at this minute?
I'm in a little place called Germany.
Tell me a little bit about your activities. What did you do, say, today, for instance?
Mostly classroom work.
What do you study?
Map reading, and then I breeze my Jeep and so forth, you know, just the routine.
Uh-huh. Do you have any time for music anymore?
Only at night. You see, I get off work at 5 o'clock in the afternoon, and I have a guitar up here in the room, and I sit around, and, you know, up here. I don't want to get out of practice, you know, if I can help it.
I should hope not. Let me tell you some good news. I know by now you know why we're calling. In the annual American Bandstand Popularity Poll, you walked away once again with a couple of honors this year. The Favorite Male Vocalist Award and the Favorite Record of 1958 Award. The kids voted you top man all around.
That's really great, boy.
How about it? Do you miss home?
Oh, boy, you I can't hardly talk.
Well, Elvis, there's one thing, and I guess maybe our poll is an indication of it. The folks at home certainly haven't forgotten you. If anything, they're more and more interested in your activities and the things that you're doing and anxiously await your return.
Well, that's truly great, Dick. Believe me, that is the big thing that I'm looking forward to. You'll never know how happy I'll be. I mean, I'm glad that I could come in the Army and do my part, you know. But you'll never know how happy I'll be, boy, when I can return to the entertainment world, because once you get a taste of show business, there's nothing like it.
You know it. Elvis, thank you ever so much for talking to us. We look forward to your return. We'll see you just as quick as we can all get together.
Well, thank you very much. I'd like to say one more thing before you go.
Sure, please do.
Boy, I'm so excited I can't hardly talk, you know.
Take your time. We got all the time in the world.
I just to tell all those wonderful kids that they'll never know how happy that they made me, and just longing for the time when I can come back out and entertain them again and travel around and make movies and records and things like that, you know. Well, that's about it.
That's it.
Elvis next went through a press conference.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever heard that interview either.
A shade smaller than President Eisenhower might expect to see if he came to Germany.
I was very surprised at the reception. I wasn't expecting anything that quite that big. And I only regret that I didn't have more time to stay there with them. But maybe someday I can come back when my Army tour is up as an entertainer, and then I'll have more time, and maybe I'll have an opportunity to kind of make myself at home over here.
Thank you very much, Mr. Presley, and we wish you a pleasant stay in Germany.
Thank you very much. Arrivederci. Oh, that's Italian.
Soon afterward, Elvis was given permission to live off base with his family, who had been staying at a nearby hotel. With him in Germany were his father, Vernon, his grandmother, Minnie Mae, whom he called Dodger, and his perennial buddies, Red and Lamar. The motley group now found themselves thrust into a foreign culture, though none of them was particularly worldly. This would lead to problems during Elvis's stay in Europe. He and his entourage first stayed at a local hotel until they were thrown out due to Red and Lamar's pranks, which included setting paper on fire and shoving it under Elvis's door.
We had a few parties and things there and almost burnt down the hotel. One time Elvis, we were playing a game and Elvis went in his bedroom and locked the door and we piled the paper out there and set it out fire and we were going to burn him out of there. And so anyway, that's what got him out of that hotel.
They ultimately wound up in a house at 14 Goethestrasse, paying almost triple the usual rent for the relatively small house.
Can you imagine me trying to pronounce those words reading that book?
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah,
I'm lucky enough to pronounce Rick.
House. Once Frau Piper, the landlady, discovered just who her tenant would be. Frau Piper also refused to leave the premises, preferring instead to stay in the top floor of the house, much to the chagrin of Elvis's grandmother, who also had to share a kitchen with the cantankerous housefrau. Though Elvis was still an all-American boy, he now began to acclimate himself to his new, distinctly European surroundings. He also learned a new German word, probably the most important one he would learn during his stay there.
Fräulein.
Fräulein. And there was one thing for him to choose from. His German fans turned out to be no less obsessive than their American counterparts when it came to trying to meet their idol.
Elvis, I know probably you don't have too much time to yourself, but when you go out amongst the German people, what is the thing that strikes you as most interesting? Are they very different?
No. The difference is mostly the language barrier there. It's kind of hard to talk to most of them, especially older ones, because a lot of them don't speak English at all, and I don't speak any German, you know.
How do you find the reaction of young people toward you, mainly the girls? Do they know who you are?
Well, every day when I finish work and I come in, there's always a lot of people at the gate from all over Germany, you know. And they bring their families, especially on weekends. I have a lot of visitors here from all over Germany, all over Europe, in fact. They come here, you know, and take pictures and everything.
Elvis, I did want to thank you very much for calling on this day. As you probably know, this is our special anniversary day.
Oh, well, congratulations.
Many, many thanks, and we all look forward to your return.
Oh, thank you very much. You don't know how I'm looking forward to my return.
Thank you for calling, and bye-bye.
Bye-bye, Vic.
It was at this time that Elvis made a friend who would be with him for the rest of his life through the best and worst of times. A young soldier named Joe Esposito.
I would have never thought I'd meet Elvis. You know, there's millions of guys in the service. But it just so happened he came to the same base I was. I didn't meet him for the first, like, 6-7 months, but I saw him around base. In the morning, he'd drive by in this little BMW sports car that BMW let him use while he was over there, and he'd be always running late. He'd always come in late. His roll call was going on. And a friend of mine, Wes Daniels, the base photographer, was assigned to take pictures of Elvis for the Army. Then one day he said, Joe, listen, we play football on the weekends, and we need some more players this weekend. You want to come over and play football with Elvis and us guys? I said, hell, I'd love to. And that's how I met Elvis.
Then, in the midst of it all, Private Elvis Aaron Presley was killed when his Mercedes crashed on the Autobahn. At least, that's what the press reported. In fact, what had happened was that Vernon, in true form, had wrecked the car while driving Elvis's German secretary on an errand. Both ultimately recovered from their minor injuries, but it had left Elvis in the position of having to explain that the rumors of his death had been greatly exaggerated. And this
I got
wasn't
my
Vernon's
own
first
idea about
mishap
that
with
one.
the new Mercedes.
Yeah, I do too.
3 weeks before,
Elvis kind of had a suspicion too.
he had
'cause you
almost
don't
caused an
just wreck a
accident while
car.
trying to outrun reporters. In an attempt to cut them off from his son, he had inadvertently trapped the car on a railroad crossing with Elvis and Red in the passenger seats. Somehow the train missed them, as can be seen in the photos the reporters took that day. Private Presley also had to deal with the growing war at his rented house between Frau Piper and his grandmother over the use of the kitchen. It ended when Minnie May whacked Frau Piper with a broom. The women soon got drunk together and all was forgiven. Though
Gladys is whacking people with frying pans and
And grandma's whacking them with broomsticks.
well, I guess those I guess they were into home accessories.
Elvis was having domestic difficulties and had to deal with being on the front lines
Appliances.
of the Cold War in Europe. There was time for him to have fun. He managed to get away for a night to be reunited with an old friend and rival, Bill Haley, at the 𝐃𝐸𝐲𝐻 performance in Frankfurt.
We'd been to some show, and a guy stopped and he said, gee, he said, I'd just like to tell you, because Elvis always wore his uniform when going to meet. Said, I'd like to tell you that it's nice to see young men that will stay in the Army and be in the military for their country. He said, I think that's wonderful. He said, yes. He said, thank you very much. He said, and he gave Elvis his name. He said, my name is so-and-so, and Elvis said, well, my name's Elvis Presley. And the guy took him by the hand and pulled it out by the middle light and said, by God, you are.
Elvis also managed to get out and enjoy European nightlife and all it had to offer. He went on a mini tour of the continent, starting first at the Moulin Rouge, the French-style nightclub in Munich. The pictures from one of those nights leave no doubt that it was good to be the king, or even to be just a friend of the king.
Oh, there's Lamar.
The girls who were entertained by Elvis and his buddies were usually the entertainment. They were strippers. The
that's
Presley
right,
contingent
Lamar
made its
Pike.
way to Paris for some high-level carousing and nightclubbing, minus one member. Red West was sent back to the States due to his propensity for getting into brawls with the European locals.
Red had a short temper, and if you say something wrong, Red would just punch you out. Red got in a fight with this guy over there at this bar. It was bad. It got back to Elvis, you know, and he said this guy's causing a lot of problems. You know, he's going to be arrested and thrown in jail. So he went back home for that reason, and that's why he wasn't on the trip to Paris.
The rest, however, wound up enjoying a somewhat debauched 2 weeks, sampling all that Paris had to offer on a never-ending party at clubs like the Carousel, the Folies Bergère, the Crazy Horse, the Moulin Rouge, and the Lido. Like any American soldier on leave, Elvis and his friends enjoyed the company of the women who were available. This included those of the professional variety.
We all hung out at this nightclub. All the showgirls would meet us there, and we invited a lot of them to the hotel in the evening, and what can I tell you? You know, we did what young men would do at that age.
Oh,
with
neither
ladies.
did I.
But one of the guys was not having too much luck. So we were talking about it
Yeah,
one
I think
day,
I think that was mentioned in Careless Love. The book we're reading, wasn't it mentioned that Red was sent back?
I don't remember.
I can't remember now where I read it. I just learned about it too, Kirsty.
with Elvis. I said, well, let's get him a hooker. So I called out to the bellman, and I said, listen, you know, I told him the story. He said, okay, Mr. Esposito, no problem. So we're there, sitting around talking, having a good time, and knocking on the door comes in, this beautiful, beautiful blonde lady is at the door. She saw Elvis, and she ran over and just jumped all over him. Elvis said, no, you're not here for me. You're here for him. She looked over and says, no, you. Well, we couldn't get her off of Elvis, so we had to ease her out the door and left. So it didn't work.
We really had a lot of fun. We had one instance
Yeah,
where
right.
we were dating some of the showgirls in Lido de Paris.
There we
And
go.
we
Thank you, Charlie.
up in suite one afternoon, and we got a call from the guy at Lido and said, listen, said, you mind sending the girls over here? Said, we got to start the show in a few minutes.
Upon his return to Germany, Elvis took up where he had left off. He went through his duties as he always did, diligently and carefully. Elvis also kept up his charitable work with one of his favorite charities, the March of Dimes.
Elvis and friends, I don't know where you've been, but when military's on leave, that's standard conduct.
You know, so many kids and adults, too, have gotten just about one of the roughest breaks.
Especially in those days.
I'm talking about polio. Sure, we're on the way to conquering it thanks to the Salk vaccine. But take it from me, it sure isn't licked yet. Join the 1957 March of Dimes, please.
Look at that kid smile, man.
And as he would throughout his life, he made sure he took care of his fans' desire to see him in person. Each day, he would come out of the front of the house and pose for photos with the girls, boys, parents, soldiers, and even pets that congregated there in anticipation of his arrival. He also signed hundreds, if not thousands, of autographs. Frau Piper even managed to make a side business out of his fans' desire to see and touch anything related to Presley. Although Elvis did tell her to please stop selling his clothes, as he would most likely be in need of them. He even introduced his German fans to American football by playing pickup games that included both soldiers and locals.
They frowned upon him going out and getting
from
drunk,
the United
but they
States
still
whom
did it.
Elvis met in Germany, who was destined to have more impact on his life than any single person other than his beloved mother. Her name was Priscilla. Though she could not
Joe
know it
and
at the
Priscilla,
time,
we knew this
Anita
was gonna
Wood,
happen,
whose
didn't we?
faithfulness to her man was even put on record and released as a single on the Sun label, now had competition. Elvis also began indulging in two things during this time that would have alternating effects on his life and career. The first was karate, something he had been exposed to in his army training and that had intrigued him on a mental and physical level. Presley continued studying the ancient art in Germany and began reading up on Eastern philosophy in an attempt to better understand the esoteric nature behind its disciplines. Eventually, Elvis would reach the level of 8th degree black belt and would continue his studies until his death. The second indulgence would have far darker consequences for the young superstar. He began taking dexedrine, a powerful stimulant, to help him stay awake while on maneuvers and to boost his energy on nights out with his buddies.
Elvis was getting tired, and he asked, I forgot who it was, one of the sergeants, he says, man, I'm tired. And the guy said, here, take this little white pill. It'll keep you awake. So he took it, and it woke him up. And if you ever take something like that, you'll understand. It really wakes you up. I mean, you get all this energy and everything. So he said, this is great. It's a prescription. It's a drug. I mean, it's not a off-the-street kind of drug. So he started taking those little by little. And as time went on, he probably told somebody, say, listen, I don't know who it was. Can you get me some of those pills? I like to have them with me in case I get tired and want to take them. Sure, give him a bottle. It's a good feeling. And we go out partying and we go to Paris and he took them. Hey, try one of these. You'll stay up all night and take one of these. It was no big deal. It was not like we're taking something illegal or something was going to hurt us. That's how it all started.
The combination of amphetamines and the chronic insomnia that had plagued him since childhood were to wreak havoc on both his physical and mental health for the rest of Elvis's life. Presley also had a new crisis to deal with, which, typically, was once again the product of Vernon's actions. His father had started a love affair with a woman named Dee Stanley, an affair that flew in the face of Elvis's still raw grief over the death of his mother. To make matters worse, Stanley was a married woman with 3 children, whose husband was a sergeant stationed in Germany. Sergeant Bill Stanley was a decorated war hero who had stormed the beaches at Normandy during D-Day and had served as General George S. Patton's personal bodyguard. Facts which made Elvis all the more uncomfortable with his father's current flame. He told his father as much, but to no avail. When Vernon asked for his son's blessing to marry Dee, Elvis begrudgingly gave it. But things would never be the same. On top of all the pressures he was already dealing with, Hollywood now came calling to make sure that Elvis's return to the fold would be profitable for all involved. Producer Hal Wallace had come to Germany to film location footage for Elvis's first post-army picture, GI Blues. Elvis found himself once again facing the criticism that he was getting special treatment due to his stature as an entertainer. He was also suffering from a bout of tonsillitis. With any other soldier, the painfully inflamed tonsils would be removed, and that would be the end of it. But with Elvis Presley, it was decided that the risk of damaging his million-dollar voice was one that the Army would not be willing to take on his behalf. He therefore had to tough it out and allow his tonsillitis to run its course. So much for special treatment. After his recovery, he and his friends managed to get to France to enjoy the nightlife of the Paris clubs one last time. Naturally, Elvis footed the bill. He could afford it. The Army had just announced that Elvis Presley had been promoted to sergeant, giving him a pay raise of $22.94 in the process.
We stayed at the Prince de Galles Hotel, and there was one time that one of the soldiers was talking to this girl. But one of the people that was in the show come over and said Elvis said, that soldier, that's not a girl he's with, that's a man in drag. And so Elvis went over and said, look, Ace, now don't get excited. Just get up and leave. Said, that's not a girl that you're having a drink with, that's a man. And so he said, really, Elvis? He said, yeah. I said, don't cause a scene, just get up and leave. And Elvis went back and sat down, and the guy got up and left.
Things were beginning to wind down for Elvis as his stay
So
in
he
Germany
really
was
had bad
coming
luck
to an
in
end.
Germany with him.
He took part in what was to be his last military exercise
the acne guy.
as the commander of his three-man team for Operation Winter Shield. He also began to prepare for what was to be a long and arduous journey back home. First, he had to say goodbye to the various friends and fans that continued to gather at his rented home.
Hello, Elvis? Hello? Hi, we had no idea we could catch a hold of you today. Oh, I just came in the door, Dick. What is the situation regarding your release from the Army? Do you have any word on it? Not anything definite, Dick. The way it stands now, I leave Germany somewhere between...
Yeah, I'm sure, Costa.
You know, the cool...
I'm sure.
What's that?
No, Costa says apparently Elvis did lie a couple of times. He used the excuse that his tonsillitis was giving him problems to get out of maneuvers in the snow and those kind of things. And yeah, I would imagine he did because, you know, tonsillitis makes you as ill as a dog. I mean, if those things don't come right fast, you can go septic very quickly.
Yeah. It's cool that he was able to have some really good interviewers, like with Wink and with Dick Clark, and then we also heard some of those freaking idiots too. We were listening to the other day. But
Would you say that your shaking and quaking is a response to is an involuntary response?
If I told you I like your car, would you buy me one?
Yeah, that was the best one of all of them.
When you come back, I understand you've got a television show with Frank Sinatra and a few movies to make. How are you going to squeeze them all in? Well, I'm full of partner.
Yeah, I would have too, Grizzly.
I know the first picture is GI Blues, but I don't know exactly what the television show will be. Elvis, I want to thank you very, very much for taking the time out from your busy schedule to reassure you once again that we're all awaiting your arrival back home, and on this day to wish you a happy birthday.
Yeah, it was called Elvis with Kurt Russell.
Will do. Bye-bye.
The press also had their turn with Sergeant Presley at a press conference arranged.
That movie was with Kurt Russell, Elvis and Friends.
Arranged by the Army.
An international crowd of reporters and photographers from all major news outlets in Germany arrive at Ray Barracks, Friedberg, for a special press conference. The most famous enlisted man and usurer during the last year and a half
They're
is
all
about to go
inaccurate.
back to his
Every one
millions
of
of
them
fans.
that's ever
Because
been
he
made
has
has
been
been
almost
inaccurate.
completely away from singing and acting while in the Army, reporters have plenty of questions about the future to ask Sergeant Elvis Presley.
There was no way they were going to miss an opportunity to get their most successful marketing tool ever in front of the cameras one last time.
When asked by a Screen Digest interviewer if his military experience has been beneficial to him in any way, Elvis said,
It's been a big help in both my career and on my personal life, because I've learned a lot. I made a lot of friends that I never would have made otherwise, and I've had a lot of good experiences and some bad ones, naturally. It's good to rough it, to put yourself to a test, to see if you can take it, and see if you can stand up under it.
Another thing we hear a lot about in the Army, especially here, is that we are not only soldiers but goodwill ambassadors.
Yeah.
How do you feel about that?
Well, that's definite. It stands to reason, because we are in a foreign country, and what we do here will reflect on America and our way of life.
Photographers move in to get that one last picture. An attractive girl reporter gets a kiss, and then an encore as the flash bulbs pop. Elvis has only one day of processing before leaving Usurer. He takes with him many good memories and pride in his military service.
Ironically, he ran into his old supporter from Sun Records, Marion Kesker, who was herself serving in the Air Force at this time.
The one thing that every GI has is the right to bitch. You gotta complain all the time or you're not a real GI. Elvis couldn't do this, because if Elvis had said one single word about even ordinary run-of-the-mill complaint, which from his best buddy would have been acceptable and expected, somebody would have sure gotten it to the press.
After 18 months away, Elvis now waited to board a plane that would carry him back to civilian life. As he strode up the steps looking resplendent in his dress uniform, a clutch of fans and friends waved goodbye. For some, it would be the last time they would see their idol in the flesh. For one, it was only the beginning of the story.
What did she say?
The plane touched down at Fort Dix, New Jersey, and Elvis emerged into a snowstorm, both literally and figuratively.
Oh, I believe that. I totally believe that.
The photographers clicked away as Nancy Sinatra welcomed Elvis home on behalf of her father. And as Elvis was handed his discharge papers and his mustering out pay of $109.54. He also went through yet another press conference.
Elvis, do you feel that you're a little old for the teenagers now?
That's the first time I've been asked that one. I don't know. I don't feel too old. I can still move around pretty good.
Are you apprehensive about what must be a comeback?
A comeback?
Yes, I am. I mean, I have my doubts. You know, I'm not gonna commit myself in saying that I'm gonna do this or I'm gonna do that, because I don't know actually. The only thing I can say is that I'm gonna try. I'll be in there fighting.
Now that you're about to be discharged from the Army, Elvis, have 2 years of sobering Army life changed your mind about rock and roll?
Don't think so, not yet.
Sobering Army life. No, it hasn't. It hasn't changed my mind, because I was in tanks for a long time, you see, and they rock and roll quite a bit.
Clever
answer. And then, suddenly, Elvis Aaron Presley was once again a civilian. He left that day with Colonel Tom Parker to board a train that would take him back to Memphis. At each stop along the way, he was greeted by throngs of fans in an outpouring of emotion that made him feel more secure about his future in the entertainment industry.
And just a couple of thumbs of fans,
Colonel Parker had done his job well.
Helped his image tremendously. Barnum. Before Elvis went in the service, the adults were putting Elvis down. You know, all the goody two-shoe people out there were saying how evil Elvis was and devil's music. But after he came out, it all changed. He served his 2 years like any other GI, was out there in the field, in the mud, and He got a lot of respect after that.
As the train pulled into Memphis, the fans were once again waiting. Elvis leapt off the train and into the waiting crowd, signing autographs and chatting with the girls. Soon he was whisked away in a police car with sirens blaring. The world that Presley found was a different one than he had left. Buddy Holly, Ritchie Valens, and the Big Bopper had died in a plane crash. Jerry Lee Lewis had married his cousin and wrecked his career. Chuck Berry was in jail on a sex charge. And Little Richard had become a Baptist preacher railing against the devil's music. For his part, Elvis was to do a welcome home special with Frank Sinatra and the Rat Pack in Miami.
Here's the star of our show, Elvis Presley.
As the police convoy approached Graceland, the gates swung open, enfolding the king of rock and roll as he entered his palace, once again a free man. The 50s were over.
Well, that wasn't bad.
Oh, damn, it's over. I quite enjoyed that.
Yeah, it was good. We got the next one is the one with Elvis and Priscilla. Let's see. Watch party, I guess. Yeah, Elvis and Priscilla. Very cool.
Good thing we got sound effects because we don't know what a police car sounds like.
What's that? Oh, yeah. Yeah, everybody's throwing up. I mentioned Priscilla. Yeah, that was all. I still think this day that was contrived from the very beginning. And still contrived.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so who was it? Lily? Yeah, Lily's there. All right, so I'm going to show you her. Show you Miss 𝐃𝐸𝐲𝐯. 𝐃𝐸𝐲𝐸. Is it? She spells it 𝐾𝐸LSEA. 𝐃𝐸𝐲𝐶. Yeah, I guess that would be right. Kel and then C. 𝐃𝐸𝐲𝐶. I just want to make sure I got that right. All right, so here we go.
Oh, come on. Costy beat daring.
So I'm gonna scroll through this page here, and let's see. Featured products. So she's got right here, add a strand of authentic Elvis hair to your jewelry. So if you can have it added in, let's see, she got pictures. She's got authentication letters, but it looks like that's a ring and some earrings. Actually, the jewelry is beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's definitely not. I couldn't tell you the difference. You know what you would classify as costume jewelry, or I don't know what you call it. But this is some beautiful stuff. Okay, let me see. This is called the satin ring, featuring fabric from Elvis's own clothing, with a letter of authenticity. But these things are like really nice. I'll put the link to this down in the description for anybody who wants to take a look at it. And if you guys are watching tomorrow when I highlight it, at least you'll see there's some of the swatches. And let's see. Rings. 1935. I guess. And let's see. I think that's everything. So that's just kind of a little bit of her page there, removed from scene. And let me remove this movie from the scene. So that's what we're going to feature tomorrow, as well as Leslie's stuff. and then we should come pretty close to finishing Careless Love. I don't think there's much left on that book. I kind of get it mixed up with the one we just finished as far as where we're at in the book. Then for you, I have the Speedway jackets from Lansky's. Those are pretty cool jackets. One's red and one's kind of a turquoise blue. Wasn't there two of them? I'm treating myself to a Lowell Hayes piece on. I would love to get I can't afford it, but I would love to get a TCB.
Yeah, me too.
That would be really cool. I really would want to bring. I just got these two rings. They're one of the only ones I ever wear. But I would love to get a TCB necklace.
I've always wanted one.
Yeah.
But not a knockoff like I'm like a Lowell Hayes one, made from the original cost.
So what is it? 6:30. All right. Any topics, or do you want to watch another one? It's up to you. We could skip, or we could do the Priscilla one, get it out of the way, done with. Vomit. We can pick one of the other ones. You all tell me, or you just want to have a nice chat. Today is what is today? The 2nd.
Yeah.
So in 3
3rd.
Tomorrow's the 3rd, the 4th, the night of the 4th, morning of the 5th, midnight. When it's midnight, I used to think midnight was like after it was the night of like Monday midnight, but it's not. Midnight is actually the date of the next day. It's because it's 12 a.m. So that would make it the next day. So anyway, Tuesday morning, 12 a.m. is when I'm going to get online with Peter's book. Yeah, if I can't get it, or if we can't look at it, we can, if you guys want to join us, we'll just have a nice free-for-all chat. And then we're going to start a new book. We'll start Peter Gronic's book on Saturday. What's that?
𝐃𝐸𝐲𝐯. Treading on thin ice.
You dirty.
Treading here on thin ice here.
Oh.
I got a dirty, dirty feeling.
Oh, how about this one?
I'm just a hugger burn love. I'm just a hugger. I'm just a hugger burn love.
So let's see, whatever. All right, so I think, I know we'll lose a few people if we, Kathleen's with us now.
Oh, hi, Kathleen.
Well, I'll tell you what, let me name a couple of the other ones. If you guys are interested, they're only 50 minutes long. And if you're interested in one of the other ones, we can always do or if everybody wants to get wound up, I don't want anybody to have to leave just because of that right now. I'd rather give an advance notice. We've got great. Look at the next one. The Memphis Mafia would be the next one. Hey, we got the comeback. It's about the 68 special.
Oh yeah, that would be cool.
So let's take a vote. The comeback or the Vegas years. After that's the Intimate Loves of Elvis. Ooh. We got a bunch of ladies with us, don't we?
Uh-huh.
All right. So this is what we got. We have, okay, Elvis and friends, you got to give me a nickname. You got to give me a nickname for you.
Then for you, the baby cam video is not in this.
ENF. The what now?
The baby cam video. It's not in this one. It's not in the studio. It's in the other one.
Oh, yeah. The baby cam. Oh, yeah. Actually, it is. I can get it anywhere. Somebody wants to see the baby cam. We'll give the baby cam a shout. Hey. It's in here somewhere. I know I didn't leak. Oh, here we go. Oh, those are the ones that we got.
Hi, my name is Cam. I'm a Blue Moon guy. Hi, my name is Cam. I'm a Blue.
You're the man, Cam. All right, so we got to find the hey real quick. While everybody tells us if they want to watch another one, or we want to have it we could chat during it anyways. That's what we always do. Okay, where'd he go? There's that one. It should be hey.
Susan, he slips when he says blue.
What'd she say?
When the baby cam says, I'm a Blue Moon guy, she says the baby slips when he says blue.
Good Lord. Jesus. Could I get it any louder? There you go. Good Lord. Drowning my ears out. All right. That's enough. All right. What do we got? So, Kirsty. Male Christy. No.
Press 1 for 68, press 2 for Vegas.
That's funny. Male Christy. Are you male or female, E and F? Oh, I guess we wouldn't know, would we? Well, I do. I know who it is. So.
Put a model in that kid's mouth.
His lips when he says blue. I know.
Kirsty chat during the Priscilla. You mean put it on his back?
Listen, I will say this. We do have some awesome conversations no matter what when we see something with Priscilla. They really go off with some really cool stuff. So it's up to you guys. You know, I don't think it's going to be like watching that one. It's not going to be like watching Piers Morgan.
No.
Oh, Brent is in the house. Is it Priscilla or Godzilla? That's funny.
It starts.
Well, I don't know. All right, so let's just do this. Cam, you pick.
Okay, I pick.
They love you too much. You pick. They'll never be mad at you for what we pick. The movie. Okay. Which one? You want just to knock out the Priscilla and get it over with? Or do we want to go to Vegas years, or we do the Mafia, Memphis Mafia? Or do we want to do the mating habits of Joe Esposito?
I say the mating habits of Joe Esposito.
Yeah, by National Geographic.
Yeah, narrated by SpongeBob. I don't know.
All right,
Kathleen,
you know what?
What's the question? Kathleen came in late.
Okay, the question is this, Kathleen. So we've been doing the box set that I have of the definitive Elvis. It's got 16 videos. We just watched number 5, and we're doing them in order. The next one is Elvis and Priscilla.
Prince.
And the next one is Memphis Mafia, and the next one is The Comeback. I kind of want to just say, let's just knock it out, get it out of the way. We can shot, pause, all that kind of stuff. If it gets irritating, then we'll stop it. I can tell you, it's not going to be like the Piers Morgan thing because she's not narrating it. So it's going to be more of a documentary type thing, but it's up to you guys. It might turn out to be kind of funny, actually. What did Brent say? The documentary where Uri Geller says, I love you, while staring in a mirror for 45 minutes. Yeah. How about the hand signs of Uri Geller?
Yeah.
All right, guys. All right, I'm gonna pick it. Did I delete that one? Yeah. Kathleen's voting Priscilla Godzilla.
Yeah, I say we should knock it out and get it out of the way.
Yeah, I should get it out of the way. I wish I could put it on fast speed. That would be funny. I listened to it all on fast speed.
Yeah,
I should have done that. I should have taken it and tweaked it, but it takes too long to do it. All right,
make it a blooper reel.
Yeah, really. All right, here we go. It's coming in. We did the Army years. That one wasn't bad on the Army years.
No, I quite enjoyed that actually. Because there was a lot of stuff in there I'd never seen or heard before. So,
there was a lot. There were some interviews that I'd never seen before. I never saw that first Dick Clark one.
No.
And there were some pictures.
I never heard the Dick Clark telephone call interviews either. Those were quite cool to listen to.
It's halfway uploaded. We could do, while we're waiting, we could say hello to Dr. Carpenter. Oh, Dr. Carpenter is in the house. Hello. Oh, me and my stupid. Brent hasn't heard our.
I'm just a hugger burn.
All right, uploads finished. Add to scene.
Elvis and Priscilla. To the world, it seemed like a love story pulled right from the pages of a fairy tale. A love story only imaginable in a dream.
You couldn't have had a more
it's
perfect couple
it's a
than
fiction.
Elvis and Priscilla Presley.
It looked like he was marrying a mirror image of himself.
He said it's like almost everything I've ever looked for in a woman.
But every fairy tale has a dark side, and every dream can become a nightmare.
He expected her to, be locked up within the gates of Graceland while he went out and cavorted around the world.
When she sort of became independent and
I'm already getting pissed.
Mm-hmm.
That's Sheila Ryan right there. Okay, if it goes like that a little bit further, then I'm stopping. I won't be able to deal with that. Her victim, that's the part that irritates me more. How much of a victim she was, being locked up into the house of Grace. And, the stories about her, supposedly she even dated somebody while she was living there.
Yeah, and I mean, Patsy used to speak about it all the time. She said Priscilla used to go to Uncle Vernon and gave her a weekly allowance. They used to go shopping.
Yeah.
And all that kind of stuff. So where the hell did she get the story? Oh no, she was locked inside of Graceland while he went out and cavorted. Yeah, I'm with you. I'm with you on that.
I'll give it 5 minutes total. Scylla married a rock star. She knew millions of women wanted him.
Thank you.
The whole thing was, and we're not even 2 minutes. What are we? 45 seconds in, and we've already do this.
With someone else, it killed him.
He wanted this guy dead. At one time, he wanted him dead. He tried to convince me to kill him, and he told Red to get a hitman to kill him when I wouldn't go do it.
Yes, thank you, Costa. She could have left at any time. Especially when he was out in Hollywood making movies.
She had to get that ring.
Yeah.
Because till then, she would have never been able to get any money.
At the height of Elvis Presley's young career, he was drafted into the U.S. Army and sent to Germany.
There you go.
His family, his films, and his music were thousands of miles away. Just as it had at the beginning of his career, his life changed before his very eyes. But Elvis would see one more change before he was out of the Army, a change that would affect the rest of his life. Just a few towns over from where he was stationed, 14-year-old Priscilla Beaulieu and her family had just moved in.
Elvis first met Priscilla in Germany. She was stationed in Wiesbaden, Germany. Her father, Colonel Beaulieu, who was Major Beaulieu at that time, was there with his family, and Priscilla was there. Curry Grant, his name was Curry, not Cary Grant. Curry Grant was this. He was in the Air Force, and Curry knew Priscilla from the base, and he told Elvis he wanted to bring this young lady to meet him. So one evening, I happened to be there. Curry brings in Priscilla, beautiful, dark-haired young lady, in this like little sailor dress. I mean, she was shocked when she walked in the door. This house with all these men, just a couple of girls. Well, anybody when you first time meet Elvis Presley is in awe anyhow.
Yeah.
So it's understandable.
Costi hit the nail on the head.
I swear, that's what.
What'd she say?
I'm going to go to the comments in a second. Hit the nail on the head, Costi. If I can just find it.
You know, somebody. Hey, Natalie. So the last time we had this a discussion about Priscilla, I guess it was there while we were reviewing the book. We were talking about Curry Grant. Now they wrote a book, him and Stefanik, right? And I've got one book. I think it's something like called Private Presley that she has a hand in writing. But isn't there another book? If anybody knows that, let me know. Because I thought there was another book they had written too that's really hard to get a hold of. But I've got one that's called either Sergeant Presley or I think it's called Sergeant Presley, actually.
Yeah, Costi said those.
Kirsty said what? I wonder why this is so far behind. Oh, that's one. Oh, I'm left in a beautiful, huge mansion, having all my meals made for me. I don't have to work. Life is hell. Yeah, yep. How much was Curry still behind the scenes with all this stuff, too?
I think
it's a rhetorical question. I really don't expect. I don't unless somebody knows the answer. I never really knew much about him, and it was just like I didn't know half the shit that I'm learning here. Curry Grant is a bit creepy, in my opinion. Well, from what I've read, what we've covered, I tend to agree. Yeah, she really.
You're going to find out some details further in the book, further on down the road in the book. I'm not going to talk about now because I don't want to give
Child Bride?
Yeah, I don't want to give you any spoilers.
Yeah, I'll probably have it finished by this weekend.
But you're going to learn some interesting. You're going to be able to make some very interesting inferences regarding Mr. Curry Grant.
When somebody new came in.
His hair's still yellow.
You know, he was always friendly.
They talked a little bit, and he took it to the side, and they sat down and visited the two of them for a little while. And, you know, we sort of left them alone because, you know, I mean, she had to be nervous. I mean, none of us knew she was 14 years old at the time because she looked maybe 16.
That first meeting with Priscilla was something else. Like I said, he was just enraptured. And when she left that evening, I said, okay. He said, Charlie, did you see the structure of her face? He said, it's like almost everything I've ever looked for in a woman.
Curry took her home that evening and asked Elvis, would he like to see her again? And
I'll take honesty over
She'd come over
non-free.
Somebody go down and pick her up and bring her back and visit and hang out, go to movies.
Her father allowed as long as she was brought over there at a certain time and brought home by a certain time.
I believe that Priscilla Beaulieu came along at a very important period in Elvis Presley's life. His mother recently died. You know, there's a huge hole in his life and a hole in his heart. And along comes
her story is proved more accurate. Are you talking about this lady right here?
Young woman and who
Is
does
this the
bear a
author
bit
of the
of a
book?
resemblance to the young Gladys Presley. I don't think there's any question about that.
I
Elvis
can't
Priscilla
remember.
spent a lot of time
if
before he
I-
met her in Germany. I mean, not all the time because he was still
Oh,
in the
his
army.
story is
During the week
true
it was
more.
tough.
Okay.
On weekends,
I read that.
she would come over, hang out with Elvis, and the two of them would spend a lot of time alone. So it was, in the army days, it was getting to know her, more or less, getting to understand her. And like I say, she was only 14. So what went on between the two of them alone together, I don't know, because I wasn't there
And that's
at
the
the
third
time.
time he
But they
said
got to
that.
know each other a
He was
little
only
better.
14.
Yeah.
By March of 1960, Elvis's Army days were over. As he prepared for his return to the United States, Priscilla begged Elvis to consummate their love the night before he left. But Elvis
Okay, thanks,
declined,
Cat.
saying, "Someday we will, Priscilla, but not now." He gave her his sergeant's stripes and combat jacket to fill his absence.
They did not have real sex until their honeymoon night. And I would believe that. Elvis was an old-fashioned type of guy. He didn't believe in that before he got married. And that's my story from the other half. Elvis, I never asked Elvis that, but that's what Priscilla told me, and I believe it.
The day Elvis left Germany, reporters caught Priscilla's emotional farewell to the king, sparking rumors that shot back to the States before Elvis even arrived. No one was more surprised by the rumors than Anita Wood, Elvis's girlfriend in Memphis.
I had read a little bit about Priscilla in the papers, and he assured me that this was a child, a 14-year-old child that was the daughter of an Army officer.
Anita saw the article in the paper about Priscilla saying goodbye to Elvis as he left, and naturally she asked him about it. He said, "Oh no, just a young lady that I knew over there," and he sort of, got away from it.
Elvis tried his best to quiet the gossip about his personal affairs in Germany.
That is my
There have been a lot of rumors about your love life.
That is my opinion, exactly the same.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll say it again, like I say it every time. No decent loving parent would have ever, I don't care who was over there, would allow their 14-year-old daughter to go hang out with a rock star.
1,000 miles away, across in a different country.
Yeah. Or even there in Germany, I would have never allowed him to go over there. To a house full of Army guys?
Mm-hmm.
Well, not full of all Army guys, but you had Charlie, you had Joe, and they don't know who Charlie and Joe is. You got Elvis, and I'm sure some of his Army buddies probably hung out there too. All guys, and the only woman there was Grandma Dodger, wasn't it? Or it's Stefanik.
Yeah, or both of them.
Yeah, hey dear, I could see my wife coming home. Of course, I'm sure she was in on it too. But I could see my wife coming home and says, "Where's our daughter?" Oh, that kid Justin Bieber.
Yeah,
she's been staying over there until late at night, just every day with all him and his rock star buddies. I would have gone from a man to a woman in one swipe.
Yeah, I would have been in a car with a 16 gauge faster than you could say bye-bye.
Did you meet anyone special in Germany?
Not any special one. There was a little girl that I was seeing quite often over there that her father was in the Air Force, and actually they only got over there about 2 months before I left. I was seeing her, and she was at the airport when I left. And,
now, I will say this, one aspect about the 14-year-old age. And outside of allowing your daughter to go over there, in the South, it was pretty popular that the girls got married at very early ages, and the parents would have authorized it, and that was just a custom. Today, it's just like, really? And they still get married at early ages here.
That's what they seem to forget to mention, that at that time, it it was appropriate for the time. They know whenever they refer to that discussion, they never compare apples with apples. They don't say that in the 30s, 40s, and 50s, if you weren't married by the age of 21, you were going to become an old maid. So,
That's true.
in relevance to the times, that was appropriate. That is how society functioned, and there was nothing abnormal about that. But they are taking something that was normal in the 50s and they applying the 90s 2000 logic to it, and you can't do that. It's not fair.
But in turn, as a rule, parents would have never allowed their daughter to go hang out with them for hours like that. Not a respectable parent, especially, and this is just beyond normal for a 14-year-old girl. In the age difference takes that out of it. If my daughter was 18 years old, I wouldn't have allowed her to go over there.
Yeah.
Because, back then it was 21 to be legal age. I wouldn't have allowed my 18-year-old daughter to go over and hang out at night over that. So take that, just take that out of it. It's just...
Especially not till 2 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah.
I mean, there were times where she would rock up at home a long time after 12 a.m. Yeah, it just seems too...
I just don't believe the story I just don't believe the innocent story. I just don't believe it.
No.
There was some
she saw him coming.
There, but it was no big romance. I mean...
Exactly, 𝐶𝐸. Exactly. He would have still had to court her, and they would have had to sit on the parents' couch. They weren't allowed to be alone. But kids too had a way of sneaking off and running off to the barn for 30 minutes and coming back, and 9 months later she's popping out another little old southern little kid, and it's starting so the cycle turns. But that's not the parents allowing them to do it. That's the kids being kids. But a 25-year-old and a 14-year-old, or even an 18-year-old. Though that age difference between 18 and 25 is not bad, but I'm still not going to let my... Anyway, I get pissed off.
First came out the girl he left behind and all that. It wasn't like that. I mean... I had to be careful when I answer a question like that.
He missed Priscilla. I mean, he really did, and I think that's when they talked back and forth from Germany and Memphis, and I think it's like anything, when you're away from somebody, you miss them more than you see them all the time.
Elvis secretly began planning his future with Priscilla while continuing to date Anita Wood.
I tell you what,
it wasn't until...
If I had someone that looked like Anita Wood sitting there waiting at home, I wouldn't have even looked twice at Priscilla. I just don't get it. To say that she was mature to be, I'm not saying Elvis is lying. I just don't think the story that's being told by Priscilla is actual. I don't know. Elvis is just as... Jesus. Anyway.
Anita found a letter from Priscilla that she realized the innocent teenage crush was actually a full-fledged love affair.
In the letter it said, "Please call my dad. I want to come over there, and if you call my dad, I know he will let me come."
And I picked the damn movie.
I miss you.
Yeah, because
I'm bad. Just kept on like that. So when he came in, I said, "What is this letter? Who is this? This Priscilla? You said she was just a child." I didn't want to talk to him. I didn't want to talk. But he kept calling, and I remember when he got me on the phone, "Little, please don't tell anybody about this." He said, "This girl, she's a 14-year-old child. It means absolutely nothing." Oh, boy. And She just wants to visit. It means nothing. And if you told him, I get in a lot of trouble. She's so young.
In 1962, nearly 2 years after Elvis left Germany, Priscilla finally got her chance to see the king again. After producing a daily itinerary and a first-class ticket, Priscilla's parents approved a 2-week visit to stay with Elvis over Christmas.
He was going with Anita, actually, when I first met him. But she was in Memphis, you know, and he was in California. And Priscilla came over, and I was there, and she came in, and Elvis asked me to take her upstairs and help her, show her the bathroom, help her fix her hair and stuff.
The women he was with, over the years, he was really a one-woman man. Because it was Anita Wood, and then he wanted Priscilla coming over there, and when that started happening, when Anita was out and nobody else.
This young man brought this wonderful girl that he really loved in from overseas, and we went to the party he had up at his home in Bel Air, and all the gang was there, and all the rock and rollers and everything like that, but he was so respectful of her. He said, "No, I don't want you to stay in here with me." He said, "I would like to have you go with my dear friends Shirley and George Barris and stay with him when you're here in town, and when I get ready to go for dinner and things like that, I'll come over and pick you up with the limousine." And that's just what he did. He was that kind of a person. He was truly thoughtful and considerate of people and people around him, and mostly of Priscilla, that she was in good care.
Elvis had all of the girls that used to hang out at the house, you know, the regulars, and they would sit down in the den, and he said, "Look, I met this little girl in Germany, and I'm bringing her over here, and I'm really serious, and the parties are going to stop." And the parties did stop, actually.
After a slew of late-night social bashes, a near overdose from Elvis's sleeping pills, and then a drunken New Year's Eve party, 16-year-old Priscilla returned to Germany more in love with Elvis than ever. They still had not made love by any traditional standard, and Priscilla began to suspect that Elvis was not as faithful as he insisted.
Elvis was still seeing other ladies too.
Oh, excuse me.
Okay, Elvis.
She's 14 years old. She's 14.
To be around women, his companions.
She's 14 and she's making those kind of demands.
Sexual things or anything like that. Just he loved being around women.
He liked a certain kind of a girl, and in a lot of ways,
Hey, David.
we were alike. We were both kind of quiet and demure, sort of, in a way, back then. I'm not now. I'm a big mouth. I talk a lot. But I was very quiet then and kind of shy, and he liked that. And we were about the same age, and we were built kind of the same. And he said some things earlier on when Priscilla was in Germany. He said some things to my mom in regards to, you know, the wanting me to move in, and he said some things that leads you to believe. I mean, he didn't want me to go to college because he didn't want to go.
Oh no!
Now, I like that one. That's pretty good. Shut up.
Yeah, I agree with Lily.
I was
She wasn't
getting this milk.
She wasn't as innocent as she let everyone believe she was.
I don't think so, and yeah, I agree. She wasn't the little prima donna that.
Oh no, you haven't even gotten to the meat and potatoes of the book yet.
Okay. I know you're gonna tell me I told you so when I finish the book, aren't you?
No.
Girl to be smarter than him.
Don't spoil it for
but
me.
Ultimately, Priscilla was cuter, and she got him. So what can I tell you?
Elvis and Priscilla maintained their relationship over the phone for several months until Elvis realized he could no longer live without
I'm halfway through it, Susan.
He called Priscilla's parents and begged them to let her move to Memphis under his guidance. They reluctantly agreed.
She was still very young, and so the deal was that she would stay with Elvis's parents, and he would see that.
Was there ever a photo of Dodger smiling?
And he, I don't believe he ever touched her till they were married.
When she first came to Graceland, and she was living with
I think there was one.
Stepmother. She didn't come in and
Well,
Graceland. But as time went on, little by little, she started moving her stuff in there. And,
She always looked like she just, like someone had just ripped one in the room.
Because she was young. And, little by little, yeah, they were seen together, we traveled together, we did things together. And
it does. She always got that look like somebody just cut one right behind her.
Times there, going to the theaters, go to the amusement park. I mean, it was all late at night.
Yeah, Lily says she never saw one.
There's one where they had a picture made of her, Lisa, and Elvis together.
But is she smiling, or is she kind of just maybe
she has
kind of trying to?
She has a slight smile on her face, but it's not like.
I know. It's just she just and well, I seen one. I seen a couple of Aunt Delta smiling, or maybe that was just a grimace that looked like a smile. I don't know.
Life, but do it with his intimate friends.
I'm not trying to make fun of him. I just never saw.
We used to have these great New Year's parties.
Every time I see her, she just looks like she's miserable.
New Year's Eve parties. Yeah, we'd all go down, and then Elvis and Priscilla would come down to the club, you know.
Yeah, I've heard the same thing, Susan.
I was at Graceland for a couple of days, and I walked in, and I think Priscilla opened the door, and her hair was light brown, I believe, and up in a bun or something. And I just had never seen anybody that gorgeous. She just was absolutely stunning.
I don't know. I figured when she moved in there that that's a pretty good anchor. You know, that's kind of like staking your territory and laying your claim.
Priscilla eventually graduated from Immaculate Conception, a
Oh,
Catholic
that's the
all-girls
perfect
school,
place.
and her relationship with Elvis grew into more of an adult.
I love the name of that school, I tell you.
They're like me.
What school do you go? What school do you go to? Immaculate Conception? No.
That'd be like me graduating from home economics.
Love. They attempted to lead a normal life between his films, but dating Elvis proved anything but normal.
Yeah, move on.
Elvis used to rent the theater to see movies that he wanted to see. So he says, Bill, we're going down, you know, to see some movies. I said, well, cool. And
Yeah, that's
so we
God,
got out
that's
of the limousine. He says, Bill, you get in the back.
I know, right.
I said, oh, well, okay.
Right there. Okay.
And Elvis and Priscilla got in the front, and we drove out down to the front gate.
That's actually a smile.
And there was like, I don't know, 75, 100.
I got a treat from you, courtesy of Kirsty. That's a tongue twister. Courtesy of Kirsty. Where'd it go now? There it is. All right, hold on to your giblets. She's actually got a damn good smile here. Check it out. Check out that smile.
Wow.
That's actually a really good smile.
You know, 𝐶𝐸𝐴𝐧𝐚𝐭𝐞 had a point. She said maybe the Great Depression took her away from those people because time was so hard.
Ooh, I know that my my grandmother, she actually it was my great grandmother. She was, I never saw her smile. She was always, you young kid. You. She didn't like having us kids around. We made too much noise. You guys just appreciate what you got. She's going on my mom. Why are you buying him all that stuff? You don't need all that stuff. Why you? Yeah, that was one of my favorite grandparents.
Yeah, you died to go there on vacation.
I tell you what, my mom's mom, man, she was a blast. She was so funny, man. She was just like, I got to get this picture out of here. How do I do this? Okay. Jack, I'm hitting the wrong damn thing. Thanks, Kirsty. Awesome. Thank you. My grandmother, my mom's mom used to do ceramics, and she had the kiln, and she had all the molds and all that. And I used to go up there. I used to have fun doing stuff and painting all these things, and then go to the airport, and I'd have some all wrapped up, 2 or 3 wrapped up in my suitcase to go back. And I used to have all these things all around my room, and I'll never forget the first time I brought a girl home. It wasn't I was probably 13 or 14 years old, but they came over. I shouldn't say I brought her home. She came with her family, but I took her. We went to my bedroom.
Whichever way,
right? Huh?
Whichever way worked for you.
Well, I know I made it sound like it was a dater thing. I was young, and she liked music, so we were going to go listen to some music on there. And she saw all these ceramics like all my room. She goes, "What are you, a child?" I said, "You can leave my room." No, I'm not a child. I love my grandmother. Bitch.
50 people. They see that limousine come. They start screaming, and everybody looked in the back, thinking Elvis is going to be in the back, and it's me, and then I'm waving it, and nobody looked in the front, and we just drove right off to the theater.
Well, we had some great stories about Elvis. All the gang got together, Chief and Joe and all, and they said, well, this is Christmas time. Elvis said, well, what can I give to my guys for Christmas? And they all said, well, let's vote on all having Eldorado convertibles. So here I am out there searching for about 7 or 8 Eldorado convertibles, and then I had to ask everybody, well, what color do you want? You want red, you want green, you want blue? And well, Priscilla was, she got into the groove, but she liked pink. So the motorcycle we created for her was a pink with pearl and different pinstriping and her initials in the right way, and same way with her cars. So she got involved with the car action and motorcycles with him just as much to show you how much she appreciated being a part of his life too.
Priscilla and I used to go horseback riding in Memphis. We'd go to the stables and rent horses with some of her friends, a bunch of us.
Oh, but remember, she was locked up inside Graceland.
Bond there where we loved horses.
How did she get her hair into the car?
It was around Christmas time, and he said he wanted to get Priscilla. And would I mind if he bought Sandy?
He had a convertible.
They could ride together. And I said, no, man, she'd love it. So he said, okay, let's go out and look for horses.
He bought Priscilla a horse and myself a horse, and had it waiting outside the back gate of the pasture. And he said, I have a surprise for you. And he had Priscilla's Domino. She named him Domino. And then my horse. And because of those 2 horses, it started his love and his desire to get horses for everybody. I mean, it started something that was just incredible. It went from Graceland with 2 horses.
And then he and I got one, and that was the first 4 horses. And then, of course, we wound up with 37 horses in a ranch.
Ooh.
It was a real great camaraderie type of thing, just not just to ride the horses, but even though it was in the back of Graceland, it seemed like another world. And nailing up, he had everybody's name on their stall.
Folded it up.
His name. He said, Daddy's. He didn't say Bernard, but Daddy's. Priscilla's, mine.
Yeah, he did, didn't he? According to her.
To Hawaii and stayed in Kailua at a house that we rented.
Agreed,
it was a dead-end street, and Elvis rented the house right at the dead end of that street. But being in Hawaii with everybody, we just hung out at the beach. We didn't do much of anything except stay there.
What actress was he starring with when she had that hairdo that would have had that type of hair? I don't think Elvis, I don't know if I believe that he forced her. He may have said something about how he liked it put up. Because his mother never wore her hair up.
No.
And none of the women he ever dated, none of the stars, would it be only Deborah Paget? Deborah Paget never wore her hair like that. That's an interesting thought. Probably a stupid one, but it's kind of an interesting thought.
Yeah, I think Susan is closer to the truth.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Enjoy the beach and the swimming pool, and I don't believe we really ventured out
That's
sightseeing. We just hung out
Jerry's ex-wife,
on
Susan.
Street. That's what it was. Priscilla and I were
He's
real
so
good
Elvis.
friends. We spent a lot of time
Torpedo
together.
hair.
I mean, she was a sweetheart, and I really believe that she and Elvis were made for one another. Yeah, they had a special relationship.
Elvis styled Priscilla's hair the way he wanted, dressed her in
You
the
don't look
colors
happy
and
there.
clothes he chose, and even did her makeup the way he liked. She
Oh,
became
she's just
Elvis's doll for him to show off by his side. She started tagging along with him when he went to Los Angeles to begin a new film, partly out of loneliness and partly to keep an eye on him around certain female co-stars about whom rumors began to arise.
Before they
She
start a
was
motion
so
picture in Hollywood,
miserable.
usually the stars meet and they go over a few things, and they do the wardrobe test,
Yeah.
and they do the still picture test. And at that meeting, Elvis and Ann Margaret became very friendly, but while they were making the movie Viva Las Vegas, they were very, very close, if you know what I mean.
It was Viva Las Vegas with Ann Margaret. And boy, what a hot pair.
I mean, you can see the energy between them on
One
screen.
morning, in fact,
Even now.
Oh, there's no doubt that there was a.
There's no
chemistry
faking
there.
that.
But
Yeah, there's
you
no
know,
faking that.
I honestly think that relationship didn't go anywhere because of Parker.
Yeah.
She's going to be your competition. She's going to, you don't want to be married to a star, It's gonna, and then probably Elvis got to the point where, it was a peer. Ann Margaret was a peer, and that might have been a little threatening too. I don't know, but I the fact that he always had flowers delivered to her at opening night every time she was in Vegas, that shows there was something there.
Yeah, she said didn't she say that she got flowers the night of the 15th when she was in
No,
Vegas?
she didn't get them. She knew something
Oh,
was
she
wrong.
did. Oh, she didn't get them.
Yeah, she
Yeah, that's
always
right.
got them at the opening night, and that night they didn't show up, and she
Yeah,
knew
'cause she
immediately something was wrong.
she was playing the night of the 16th, right?
Well, I think her opening night was the 15th.
Oh yeah.
Or
I
maybe
knew it was
you're right. Maybe it was the 16th. I don't know, but it was because
it
he
was
died
close
on
to
it.
that.
It was the 16th when he died, so it would have been the 16th. He would have gotten flowers delivered. But yeah, that's she knew. She just knew. In Ann's book in '67. Hey, you know what? This will be a pretty cool thing. Okay, so I've got Ann Margaret's book. It's called My Story. I haven't read the whole thing. What I've done though is I've screenshot. I have it in PDF, and I've screenshot all the parts of the book that pertain to Elvis. It's pretty good. 35, 40 pages maybe altogether. Maybe not quite that many. And that would be a good book review one day. We just go through it and we just go through it and see what she has to say in her book. I think everybody really liked that. Oh yeah, there's no doubt.
His room, make him up. And I said, that's a match for you. And I don't know what I should say this tonight. He said, wait till you meet Priscilla.
Viva Elvis! He told me, he said, you know why I
Thank you,
started going to
Steven.
band? I said, no, why? He said, because I knew I was going to marry Priscilla. So he broke it off himself. You see, he was beginning to feel things for her, and like I said, he knew he was going to marry Priscilla, so he just broke it off before he could go any farther.
Elvis's film career and record sales began slipping during the mid-'60s. Poor reviews coupled with turning 30 caused Elvis to start doubting himself, questioning the very talent that had brought him this far. His arguments with Priscilla grew more heated as a
Green
result.
scarf.
He even helped
You
her
should have
pack
never
once
said
when she
something.
threatened to leave.
He's gone, isn't he?
Priscilla's parents began urging him to finally marry their daughter, as if to complete some
There we go.
contract.
Yeah.
I think that
There we
came
go.
more or less from Priscilla's parents.
Thank you.
You know, with you long enough, it's time to get married. And Elvis had no bones about that. He was very happy to.
Elvis told me
I'm
on the set
sure.
of Speedway he and Priscilla were going to get married. And I said, oh, man, don't tell me no secrets. And I laughed. You know, it was a joke, but I said, don't tell me any secrets. You know, if it gets out, you know, it could be me, you think, or somebody thinks. I said, so don't tell me no secrets. So we finished the day's work, and I'm on the San Diego freeway, and I'm going home. It's about 6:50. It comes on the radio, the announcement that Elvis and Priscilla are going to get married pretty soon. And one thing and another, I said, oh, Jesus, don't tell me. It's all right, because Colonel Parker called the press.
They didn't. Am I wrong? But they didn't announce it. They just announced they were married, didn't they? Did they make an announcement before that they were getting married? I could have sworn that everything was.
The first time the press heard about it was at the breakfast wedding after the fact.
That's he just got through saying that he heard on the radio that they'd announced they were getting married.
And here's another thought too. Charlie said a couple of seconds ago that Elvis had said to him that he broke things off with Anne Margaret because he knew he was going to marry Priscilla, etc., and that he wanted to marry Priscilla, etc., etc. But here's my other perspective. Elvis, being the kind of person that he was, being extremely proud the way he was and having his upbringing the way he did, do you guys really think Elvis would have gone to Charlie and said, oh no, but Priscilla's parents forced me to marry her? He would never have embarrassed himself like that. He would have rather taken the fall and said it was his decision and kept the rest of it secret, rather than coming out with a whole bale of hay and saying, oh no, but Priscilla's parents forced me to pop the question because we've been together long enough now. He would never have done
I
that.
honestly believe he never wanted to marry her. I really honestly believe he never had it in his heart to marry her.
No. And he knew that, sorry guys, if you think I'm blunt, he knew that if he was going to pull out, he was going to get more shit on his plate than he would ever be able to face, because had he done that, they would have made sure that he regretted it the rest of his goddamn life.
Yeah, I think the relationship with her, that's why I don't believe. Looks like my drug supplier didn't stop by today. It's a joke. I need something. This is
conference.
It was official. Elvis, at 32 years of age, would take Priscilla, now 21, to be his wife in a private ceremony on March 1st, 1967, at the Aladdin Hotel in Las Vegas.
Yeah, Mona Barrett. Yeah.
So private, in fact, that most of the Memphis Mafia were excluded.
By Friday, I guess we were told, on Saturday, a car will pick you up at your home at a certain hour, and the car picks us up, takes us to the airport, and only when we get to the airport and are given tickets do we know we're going to Las Vegas. And one of the other young people around said, oh, you know, I just have a feeling Elvis is getting married. And I said, oh no, no way. So we got there, we went to the back entrance of the Aladdin. At that point, I did not know there were hundreds of press inside, you know, camping out on the floors because word had gotten out.
I knew about it because I was driving the Colonel to Palm Springs. And a lot of the guys thought I was going to Palm Springs, and we really were going to Vegas. The Colonel set that up at the Aladdin Hotel. They had set up one room to be it, and there was just room enough for the immediate families, and Joe and Marty as best men.
They weren't allowed to come into the ceremony itself because the apartment was not big enough, and some of them were very much offended that they couldn't come in.
I'll never understand why it was Joe and Marty.
Neither do I. Because he had people in that group that were closer than Joe and Marty.
You know, even if it had been Charlie Hodge, I would have believed it more.
Yeah, I would have said.
Even there.
Yeah, I was about to say that too. If anybody, I think Elvis would have chosen Charlie, because Charlie was there for him when he had nobody else. Even before the days of Joe, Charlie was there. Charlie helped him through the loss of his mother.
And who in the entertainment world would he have chosen if he chose somebody in the entertainment world? I would say, at that time, I would say, you know what? The funny thing is, I think the people he was closest to in the entertainment world were black. That would have really thrown a stir.
Oh yeah, that would have caused us.
Either Sammy Davis, because they'd been friends a long time. He came to a couple of his movie shoots. You had Sammy Davis. You had Jackie Wilson, because Jackie Wilson was still, he's playing Vegas. You had Roy Hamilton.
He was friends with Red Fox too at one time.
Yeah, Red Fox was there at the wedding. Who else? I can't think. And I hope this doesn't offend anybody, because I don't mean it at all. But it's of course we've talked about racism with Elvis anyways, because he was always accused of it. But of all the people in the entertainment world, Tom Jones. I would have never had Tom Jones as my best man. He would have been hitting on the bridesmaids, but there was no. Anyway,
Susan has a point here. Look at Susan, what Susan says, and look at the stall of Priscilla at exactly where you paused it.
Priscilla looked at him at the wedding like she was surprised he went through with it.
Look at that face.
Oh, that's a good catch.
Look at that face.
That's not a smart to me. You never know when you're filming something. If you pause it at the right time, you can really get the right thing. But I agree, that's a look of
gotcha.
Pinch me, somebody. This isn't real.
That also, in a way, that look even says to me, gotcha.
Yeah, Kirsty's got a couple people that would have been good. Billy, George Klein.
Yeah. I mean, Billy was fun.
Parker. No, that's a stupid joke.
I'm surprised he didn't invite himself.
Yeah.
I'm surprised he didn't invite himself.
Catch season. Yeah. No, I agree with you, Cam. Yeah.
I mean, that doesn't look like a look that says, "Oh, I'm looking forward to our life together." That look says to me, "Okay, now I've got you under my thumb. Now you're
that's a look of cha-ching.
Yeah, then now you're going to dance to my tune.
Yeah, you know what? Yeah, Lily, I don't think.
No.
I don't. I think you're right. I mean, if okay, just take the whole aspect of Elvis and who he was and what he was, and the fact that he did have other women. Okay, that was a given. She knew it. Everybody knew it. Everyone it wasn't like it was a big surprise, right? And yet she still would marry him. Did she seriously think that all of a sudden he's going to stop? And yet he's the love of her life. He's her soulmate. And what is it? They got married in what, May of '67? And
by June she had someone else.
No, exactly 1 year later, she's having an affair with her dance instructor. Right after Lisa Murray's born, and she brings him to the '68 special.
Yeah, Lisa is like what? Lisa was 4 months old at the time.
Yeah, when they filmed that, yeah, because she was February, March, April, May. You're dead on right, yeah. Because she was born.
Yeah, 4.5 months old.
Yeah, she was born one day after my birth date.
Yeah, she was born
1st of January. And
she was born 1st of February, and they taped that section of the special on the 29th of June. What would have been my birthday.
It was almost 68. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's almost 1 day short of being a year and a half old.
Yeah, and then she had Mike Stone right after that, and that went on for how many years? 4 years. Yeah, I mean, that's a given. Patricia, that's a good point. That's a given. All she ever wanted was money and the name. and she got that name, and it was sealed. She's accepted. She and her demented mind thinks it's a lifelong ticket for cash.
And
Because
she
she
wasn't
was
part.
married to him, though she's, it's, it would be one thing if she was a widow, but she wasn't a widow.
You know, that brings the whole Mike Stone thing into a little bit of context. Because if you think about it, you know, when you hear Sonny talking about it, and he said that, yeah, Elvis wanted him to go take him out, and then he wanted him to get a hitman and take Mike Stone out. Maybe Priscilla realized at that point that if I don't give this guy a divorce and get the hell out of here, Mike Stone is going to end up dead anyway. He's going to make it happen somehow.
That's a good point. But now I'll tell you what my take is on the Mike Stone deal. I believe Elvis said that, but I don't believe any of the guys ever believed he ever would.
No.
But I think they played it up for the book.
Yes, but at the same time, while you're saying this, you're bringing something else to my perspective too. Maybe silently he never would have, but maybe he used that to make her realize, and of course with him having the volatile temper that he had, he probably used that against her as a scare tactic to say, either you get the hell out because I know what's going on, or I'm going to get somebody to take this guy out, and you sure as hell know that I'm capable of doing that. Not that he would have ever acted on it because of Lisa, but he might have used that as a scare tactic on her. And especially she could have weighed it up and said, you know, it's quite possible that he can't do this because he flies off the handle at any small thing. So maybe he's right. Maybe I need to get the hell out of here and just cut my losses. And I can get him some other way, some other legal way. I can nail his ass to the wall.
Brent said something. What do you say? Jesus, how far back did Brent come in? Yeah. How far back am I? Wow. Rick sent you a picture of Elvis at the altar looking in shock. All right, I'm going to let this get back to playing. I'll dig that picture out right now.
Actually, I was a drop-in guest. My ex-wife and I were in Vegas, and we saw the Colonel the night before. And he said, come on over to the Aladdin tomorrow. We're having a bash. Elvis is getting married. But the astounding thing that I remember about the wedding
on Discord. Okay,
was
thanks.
that many of the people that were there had never really seen Priscilla in person. And when she entered, came down the aisle, and she turned toward Elvis, she lifted her veil, and they were both side view, the two looking at each other. And what was amazing was that they looked exactly alike. It looked like he was marrying a mirror image of himself.
I sometimes look at that picture of her for their wedding and think, man, she looks like Elvira. She's got the eye thing going on there, and, you know, the black makeup on the eyes and the hair. And
excuse me, let me turn my volume here. I'm dead for you. I believe he got that just through the time period they were living together, and he just she left it behind by mistake or what, and came across. I don't think he got it dishonestly. I just give him credit for that. Even though I don't like the guy. I mean, that's just my opinion. Doesn't mean definitely doesn't mean I'm right. So, okay, here we go. So Susan just sent me this picture, and I'm gonna wait till Cam comes back to share it. Let's watch a little bit more. They look nothing like. Yeah, what was that about? I missed part of that. Excuse me, guys. I'm gonna. Okay, I'm just.
Side view of the two looking at each other, and what was amazing was that they looked exactly alike. It looked like he was marrying a mirror image of himself.
I sometimes look at that picture of her for their wedding and think, man, she looks like Elvira. She's got the eye thing going on there, and you know, the black makeup on the eyes and the hair, and I think I'm turning into her. Such a
Yeah, I know. He tried to sell that film. He tried to auction it off. Yeah, it's the Christmas one, right? It's at Christmas. Yeah, he tried to auction that off not long ago. He finally took it off. He was getting too much flack about it. Yeah, that's weird. That's kind of a
beautiful, beautiful couple. They were just stunning. When they walked in, I mean, everything stopped.
I thought Priscilla Presley was perfect for Elvis. I thought Priscilla Presley was the most gorgeous thing in the world at that time. I just thought they made a beautiful couple. You couldn't have had a more perfect couple than Elvis and Priscilla Presley.
Okay, George had to know more what's going on, and I lose a little respect for George in that comment, because George knew Elvis since school.
There were hundreds and hundreds of photographers and correspondents camped out, and they were having the wedding reception. Only a handful of people went to the wedding, but there were 200 people or something invited to the reception. The RCA people and the William Morris agency people and the MGM people and the Paramount people. And finally the Colonel went out of those doors into the lobby where all these press people were coming, and he said, you know, if you're willing to leave your cameras and your notebooks, your pads and pencils outside, you can come in and be guest of Elvis and the Colonel.
Here's the picture that Susan sent me. Look at the look on Elvis's face. Jesus, that's a tiny little sucker. Does that look happy?
No, he looks like he's about to burst into tears.
Well, look at her, too. Look at her sister.
She's shitting bricks. But it looks like he's about to burst in tears.
And look at his hands. Look, you know, he's not in a stance. I mean, I don't know a whole lot about body language, but I do know when somebody stands like that, they're not comfortable.
No,
That's not a comfortable way to stand.
You would expect him to have his arm around her in some way, or at least stand close to her, like bodies touching or something. I mean, I couldn't stand with my arm around my wife at my wedding day, but she stood with her arm around my waist. And
yeah, when I got married, I was holding my wife's to-be wife's hand to the whole ceremony.
He's not even holding her hand. In fact, she had one arm around my waist, and the other she was holding my hand on top of my crutch handle. But you're right. It's
Kirsty. Wow, a bunch of popped in here. Hold on. Let me get that what she says. He's like, what the fuck? Where'd that one go from Kirsty?
Yeah, he's like, what the fuck have I just done?
Jesus, man. I'm scrolling too. Yeah, Kirsty says, she's like, get that damn ring on his finger. Quick.
Yeah.
Yeah. Lily the hunk. She calls him the hunk. He had 1 foot out the door. That's why he was feeling trapped. Snap.
Yeah, it looks like he's standing up against a wall and somebody's pointing a 12-gauge shotgun at his head. No, that's definitely not the vision of happiness right there.
Yeah, Kathleen, Elvis is ready to run.
Yeah, I mean, he's not even smiling.
You know, she looks stone cold emotionless. Where's her wedding day? euphoria.
Yeah.
I mean, it's the same. You know, you know how I always say I would love to be able to get in Elvis' head at certain times, but no, I never will. I can get into his head right there, and I think we all can. It's not what the fuck am I doing? Excuse my language, but why am I here?
Yeah.
Why am I doing this?
Why did I ever allow them to do this?
There's something had to be, I don't want to say over his head, but you're right. Whoever said it, maybe it was you, Cam, or somebody, maybe all of us, somewhere along the line in the comments. It was something from her parents saying you need to marry her, or whatever that or is, we'll never know.
No.
But I think, because Parker didn't want him to get married.
It had something to do with his career, and he knew it. He somehow knew it, because had he ever said no, he's not going to do it, he knew that with her stepfather being a general in the army or whatever, he knew that.
Corporal or something like that. Or he was up there.
Yeah. He knew that somehow or another somebody could have said something, and he could have had misery the rest of his career. He could have.
Say hello to
He could have flunked over like Jerry Lee if he said, "No, I'm not going to do it."
Girl, come here. Oh, come on. I was going to say, have her say hello. No, I agree with you, Cam. I mean, anyway.
And she knew she had him by the shorts and collars.
No, and there's Rona Barrett. Talk about gossip columnists.
Gossip host.
Yeah. That's what she was. She was real popular when I was growing up.
Yeah, I heard that. I heard that too, Patricia. I also heard something to the lines of, I can't remember where I heard it, but they apparently were saying that if Elvis had never married Priscilla, that they were going to sue him for breach of promise.
Yeah, I tell you the truth, that could very well have been it. Because, even today, you could sue somebody for breach of contract. In a way.
Can you imagine the scandal? I mean, they would have taken him to the cleanest. They would have wrecked his career. Even if he had the colonel as his manager, I don't even think the colonel would have been able to stop that shitstorm from happening.
No. You're going to fight somebody in the military?
Whoa. Especially the colonel having his track record that he had. I mean,
And
the colonel also...
I bet you anything that he knew Colonel's status.
Yes. The colonel also had way too much to lose.
She took him to the cleaner anyway, Cam.
Yeah, she did, but she was clever in that sense, Costi, because she knew it would be an endless supply of money. Whereas had he pulled out, they would have sued him for a lump sum, would have destroyed his career, and she would have only got that lump sum of money. And the type of person that she is, she would have blown that money within a year. Then she would have been on the bones of her ass anyway.
Come here, Finnegan.
Yeah, he was a commanding Air Force officer. That's right, Costi. Thanks.
No, Bailey, don't push him out of the way, you little snot. Yeah, I do. I think it was.
It was a case of he was on the Titanic and he knew it. It was either go down with the ship or try and bail for a lifeboat. And the only lifeboat he had.
And at that time, he wasn't pulling in a whole lot of money off the movies. It was a squeaky time right then.
Yeah. He had way too much to have lost. I mean, had he pulled out, I guarantee you, those people at the movie houses, they would have killed the contracts right there and then. He would have never been able to do the NBC special. He would have never done the satellite show. His career would have been as good as over.
Yeah. Come on. Come here. Come say hello. Come here. Come on. Oh, the snot. Oh, now here comes, yeah. She heard. Okay, you guys want bones, don't you? Okay, hold on. But Dad, come on. Come get your bone.
Yeah, absolutely right. He was up shit creek without a paddle.
And
Absolutely.
she still to this day makes money off his name.
Mm-hmm.
In one form or another.
And you know, I think that's what makes it even worse, because 90% of us know who she really is, and she still sits there on the figurative stage and thinks that she can spew this bullshit, and we still have to buy it.
And what gets me is the people that still believe her.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I have faith in the intelligence of man, or you know, generally.
Yeah.
But when somebody like that has got
Hi,
such
Helen.
a following, I just wonder what they eat for breakfast, because I don't want to eat it.
Yeah, there we go. See, Kat, they would have hit the media with he's been with her since she was 14. It's all very well, could have affected contractual agreements, movies, everything. Yeah, you're right. He would have been busted out. They would have come out with some salacious thing, and Priscilla would have conformed to anything her parents said. They would have played the card that he's been with us since she was 14. It would have been a rehash of the whole Jerry Lee Lewis debacle.
I wonder, what's Brent say here? I wonder if the majority of ticket buyers to her appearances are not really going to see her, but going there to hear. Well, I tell you what, if they are, they're paying a hell of a fortune for it, because you know what? Go ahead, keep going, Cam. I want to look up, see what it costs for that intimate evening.
I would rather hear Elvis stories on the internet. You got YouTube, you got Instagram, you got TikTok, you got all those places you can still hear Elvis stories. I wouldn't be paying in excess of $300 for an autographed picture of Priscilla and then to go hear a couple of fabricated Elvis stories from her, because I can tell you none of the Elvis stories that she tells is absolutely 100% true.
Well, that one we saw the other day was only in March. Okay. Welcome to the official. The Intimate Evening with Priscilla Presley is a live event where Priscilla Presley shares personal stories. Now she's with she's been traveling with Comic-Con too. It's kind of a oxymoron.
Yeah, Brent is right. I agree with Brent. If the money was right, Priscilla would allow you to throw pie in her face.
She wouldn't feel it with all that plastic.
No. If I had the money and I was closer, I would say to her, okay, I'll give you $1,000. Just let me throw a pie in your face. Just let me have that satisfaction.
So if you want to go to the intimate evening, okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Really not that expensive.
Mental image I'd rather not have.
Well, standard seats are $70, but where is the? Wait a minute. Oh no, a seat is $300. You can sit all the way back next to the toilets, which probably would smell better than her, anyways. That's kind of a bad remark, huh?
Really? $300?
Yeah, but then that's just a sit. That doesn't count what you're going to pay for fucking autographs.
She's fucking gone off the rockers. I mean, $300 to put your ass in a chair.
Well, she's doing this now to this. There's no doubt in my mind she's doing this to dispute Lisa's book. You know, when she found out, she started this. You know, I think Cat Girl was saying that she actually made the announcement of her book before Lisa's book came out, but she knew it was coming out. And then and then I think she kind of crashed Riley's very first book tour event.
Hmm.
And I don't think Riley was expected to come out on stage. Just the whole body language of it all, and then she said,
Here's another point. Maybe she's doing it because she's running out of cash, because she's been in
"Oh,
all
there's
these
no doubt in my mind she's out of cash. That woman doesn't have any clue how to manage money."
lawsuits and all the rest of it, and her own personal bank named EPE. She hasn't been part of that for years. Thank God Lisa made sure of that. So where's she getting cash from other than to host these ridiculously expensive evenings that she thinks people are interested in going to see? And like you said earlier, unfortunately, there is a part of the newer Elvis fan base that are still stupid enough, in my mind, sorry, that's my opinion, but stupid enough to believe all the bullshit she sells. And they stupid enough to spend $300 to go listen to her ramble on about shit for 2 hours.
I think her thunder's getting stolen too, which I think is just brilliant.
That's
Was
brilliant.
Woz's release of the movie right when her book's coming out.
Yeah.
See, in the Elvis world, that was the prime thing that was happening in September. Now, it doesn't even register on the Richter scale now, because Woz's movie is just totally stolen the thunder. And she's got to be shitting little plastic rollies right now, because she that's got to piss her off royally. But she'll show up with that face, and this is just going to be amazing to see my soulmate. Oops.
Oh yeah, right.
Lights are hot and her lips start melting. I'm melting. Don't throw water.
Yeah, it's like Elvis said in the 77 special. As I usually wear makeup on stage, or if you see it streaking and running, and don't. In his case, it was makeup. In her case, it's going to be It's going to be makeup plus.
Yeah, I've never had any. Even when I just didn't even think much about. I didn't know anything about the stuff before she wrote her book and all that. I just never really thought much of her. Period. Though she was his wife and his ex-wife, to me, it was just, she just didn't mean anything to me. I just think that I think somewhere in the back of my mind, and I think it is probably because my father used to say it. He just used to call her the money grubbing bitch, is all he ever called her, and that was before he even got married.
Yeah, I agree with Brent too. Lisa would have outsold her had she lived.
In a heartbeat.
In a heartbeat. I mean, I think that's why she stopped going with Lisa to the events eventually at Graceland, because she realized that the fans don't give a shit whether she's there or not. We were there, and when I say we, I put myself in the group of people that go there. We were there wanting to see Lisa. We couldn't give two shits.
Lisa was just, everybody looked at Lisa as an honest person, a straight shooter. And so if you were to go see her, you knew you were getting straight facts. You could ask her anything about growing up with her father. You could ask her anything, and she would tell you. And you ask her, did you have a problem with drugs? She would tell you. She wasn't one to hide anything. And if you asked her 3 years later, she would tell you the exact same freaking story.
Thing. Yeah.
See, that's the problem with, like my dad used to always say to me, and we've all heard the same thing. The difference between the truth and the lie is you never remember the lie.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and she got you right. And she would have definitely told more. I mean, like we've discussed on the show before, she recorded hours and hours and hours and hours of audio tape.
Yeah.
I would, out of respect for Lisa on the one hand, I would say, I don't want to hear those tapes because Lisa didn't make them available for us to hear. But on the other hand, I would love to know the things that Lisa spoke about on those tapes that we haven't even heard yet.
Well, I'm not gonna watch the movie then. Or maybe
hell no.
you know what? Maybe I will when it comes on streaming, and I'll take the thing and I'll cut it out and I'll make a clip out of it, a funny clip. I'll do one of my blooper reels with her in it, and I'll
But
mock her.
they should have called it the plastic gun.
Yeah, I don't know. I like Liam Neeson, and I see some of the the previews, and I just don't. It's not going to be Leslie. There's nobody going to top Leslie Nielsen.
No.
As in The Naked Gun, nobody. It's just not going to happen. And they can never redo it. First of all, even though we know the result was O.J. Simpson, he was in the movie. He was hilarious. George Kennedy was hilarious. All that stuff. The one with the Queen is just absolutely freaking. And then of course we got one of my favorite. Where did I do it? I gotta find it. I absolutely love this from the movies. Whatever the hell. Anyways, take it, Cam. I'm out of words for a moment.
You out of words?
Yeah. Yeah, that's.
Oh hell no! Then
Yeah,
for you,
we gotta go now. We gotta. Oh, I forgot to tell you this. That's me.
Then for you crazy. For $124, you would have to sit on my lap. I don't want that thing on my lap, even for $1 million.
Here we go from Naked Gun. I love that. It's so fucking funny. Now I got to get it out of there. I got too much stuff in here, man. I got to start organizing this stuff better. I got so much shit.
If you speed that up fast enough, it could sound like applause.
Well, I got one with applause. I don't need it.
No, I'm just thinking it would be hilarious to see. Speed it up, it sounds like applause, but you see them smacking themselves.
I'm getting tired. All right, let's see what we got left here. Rona Barrett, the great columnist. I grew up in Los Angeles, everybody knows, and we used to go to the Forum every year for the Harlem Globetrotters would come to town. We'd see them, and one year they played the Hollywood All-Star. It was played Hollywood Stars, and a lot of stars would be on the team from that time period on local TV shows like back. I don't know if you guys remember Emergency and Adam 12, but the stars from there would play. And Rona Barrett was one day, and she was the announcer. And I went around with my little autograph book, and I was getting autographs, and she was really super nice to me. You're such a good-looking guy. I wish I was your age. I remember her saying that. Well, you'd have to be my age, lady, because I'm too young for you. Oh, I didn't think that. All right, so where are we at? Let's see what she's got to say.
People know that I was the one who broke the story about Elvis really going to get married to Priscilla, and this time it wasn't a joke. I noticed that people were coming in and out, and the Memphis Mafia had new shirts, new suits, ties, things that I had never seen before them do in such a flurry. And I said to one of my staff members, I said, this is the weekend he's going to get married. I just know it. And the next thing I knew is that there was a lot of flurry at the house in Palm Springs.
I believe that she broke the story that they were going to be married. I know that when they did get married, she was camped out in Palm Springs because her information, Colonel was good at getting a lot of misinformation out. So Rona Barrett, I think, was in Palm Springs during the wedding, thinking she was going to get an exclusive there.
A week later, Elvis and Priscilla held a second ceremony in Memphis for their family and friends to attend. The movies and the music were on hold, and Mr. and Mrs. Presley tried as best they could to lead a normal marriage.
Elvis had taken in, he and Priscilla into riding horses a lot. And he only had like 13 acres there at Graceland. And they would ride around all of it. So he started looking for a place.
Yeah.
And they found this place just across the state line down there. It was 165 acres. And this guy was wanting to sell it. And Elvis bought it so he could have his horses down there and have 165 acres to ride on. But that was where we had an awful lot of fun. Because it was out down there. Elvis loved to get out. He'd wear a big old jacket, western jacket, and his cowboy hat.
It had a beautiful lake with a huge white cross on it over the lake. And it was with red Santa Gertrudis cows all over, you know, the ranch. Had a little house there.
There was a little house, beautiful little cottage that had been in some magazines. Not very
Not what it looks like
really
today.
Nice, looked great on the property.
No.
And that's where Elvis
Freaking
was
owners, man.
originally. And then he bought trailers for the rest of us guys.
Elvis had bought all the guys' trailers and had put cement slabs from beyond out there all along the fence. And he bought himself a trailer and one for his grandmother. And Alan Fortis, who he made like kind of foreman of the ranch, he let him and his wife live in that 100-year-old house that had been restored and everything. He lived in a trailer. That's where Lisa Marie was conceived.
If you see a lot of pictures during that period of time, you'll see they're very happy, they're smiling, having a good time. And then when she became pregnant, that even made it better, because Elvis loved animals and kids. He loved kids, and he just adored them, because I knew when I had my two daughters, he was very close to them. And so he was happy. I mean, he was smiling all the time, you know, they were having a great time. We had
That's
the
from
ranch.
Stay Away Joe. That's not the...
It was like a whole little group thing happening.
She seemed to develop more of a personality as she got older. But when I knew her, she was a young lady just as
She just nailed the most popular person out there. You gotta, you know, nailed, that's not the proper word, right? She just...
Yeah, she did.
Yeah. She just, you know, she just captured the... She's set for life now. Of course she... Yeah. I bet you she changed so much.
matter of fact, even I knew her before she married Elvis, and I knew her after the wedding. We were invited to the wedding reception, and she seemed to develop after the wedding much more. So she was just a young girl before that, young pretty girl.
When Elvis and Priscilla were expecting, they had me bring Vernon Scott out and broke the news. So told him so he could break the news and release the story.
But the honeymoon had to end sometime. Just when Elvis was finally enjoying his new quiet life on the ranch, Hollywood called, and he reluctantly returned to the studios to begin yet another film.
Elvis is in trouble.
I think, number one, he didn't want to go back and do a mediocre movie, and that's what was next online. He was enjoying being there with everybody. He had just gotten married.
Yeah, that's true.
Elvis were very happy at this time. And he wasn't ready to go back, and then the pressure started about, you know, time to go to work, time to, you know, get back to Hollywood.
During Priscilla's 7th month of pregnancy, apparently from out of nowhere, Elvis suggested a trial separation. He packed some things and left, only to return 2 days later with an apology. His films were now laughably being booked as second features. It was a long, dark cloud that was only lifted by the birth of Lisa Marie on February 1st, 1968. 9 months
I think
to the
he got a
very
little
day
bit
of
of
their
a
wedding.
phone call.
I never will forget when
That's
we
what I was
went
just
to
going to say.
The hospital, when she felt she had to go and have the baby. And Jerry Schilling, I said, now, Jerry, where are we going? He said, Methodist Hospital. I said, no, Jerry, Baptist. He said, Charlie, I swear, I said, Jerry, let me be wrong. You drive to the Baptist Hospital.
We had done a trial run to the Methodist Hospital. Nobody told me anything different. somehow, through some meeting, they changed to the Baptist hospital. So I'm driving to the Methodist hospital, and Charlie's sitting beside me, and Charlie said, no, it's the best. I said, Charlie, I did the trial run. You weren't even here. And then Elvis said, no, Jerry, I forgot to tell you, we changed it.
And then on the way there to the hospital, we had a phone in the car. And was Joni with me? I can't remember. But whoever there, I said, call Joe. And so called Joe. He was in Los Angeles.
I got a phone call when I heard Priscilla was on the way to the hospital to have Lisa Marie. So I forgot who called me, either Jerry or Charlie. I said, tell her to hold on till I get there. So I got a first plane.
Yeah, like, oh, wait, Joe's coming.
Memphis,
hold on.
Somebody picked me up at the airport and took me right to the hospital, and I got there before Lisa Marie was born.
You know, that Lily's got a point there, because just for me, remembering in biology, pregnancies were just a little over 9 months standard.
Yes, they are. They're usually 42 weeks.
Human gestation. I'm looking it up now because my dad used to say, well, if it was 9 months to the date, there was a little activity going on just before they got married. Duration, it's 40 weeks. Is what it says here. 280 days. Gestation is measured in weeks from the first day. Okay. Born 30 to 40 weeks after a baby born after 37 weeks of gestation is considered preterm. So I need to figure out, we'll keep this going. I'll figure out how many weeks from that.
So she did hold out for me. She kept her legs crossed.
Elvis is
really
iconic.
She held off for you?
Everybody, and, you know, to us guys and family and whatever, I mean, here's a guy that we sit in the waiting room with while he's waiting for the birth of his daughter. Here's the guy we laughed with, we cried with. We were all like brothers, you know.
When Lisa Marie was born, it was a very special time for all of us, because here, this little baby was going to be coming home to Graceland in a little while. I mean, we'd all been waiting for this special moment. Elvis is Priscilla's first little baby, you know.
Well, after Elvis and Priscilla did get married, things changed a little bit. And after Lisa was born, this has been talked about before, but I think Elvis had this thing about the Oedipus complex or something like that, or I don't know what it is. It's like they're making love to their mother type thing. And I mean, I can't say for sure, but that's my feeling. I think their passionate life together wasn't as well as it was before that Lisa was born.
Oh,
I mean,
bullshit, Joe. You're buying into the media bullshit.
She was born exactly 42 weeks to the day.
Yeah.
Gestation, according to, is 40 weeks.
So she was 2 weeks late. And that's normal with first pregnancy.
Yeah.
So that story about her being pregnant before the wedding
doesn't hold up. Unless she was overdue by a month, but you know.
Realized that although he was a superstar, a husband, and now a father, he was also going broke.
Yeah.
He sold the Circle G Ranch, returned to Hollywood, and filmed what would be the last of his movies.
I'm sure she sat with her legs crossed just for Joe.
Yeah, because Joe was like, I told her to hold out, and she held out for me.
Yeah.
Like he was the father.
Down to the nitty gritty.
Yeah.
I remember him bringing a picture of Priscilla and the baby, and she was on the floor with the baby. She was
Marilyn Manson.
On her side like this, and the baby was laying right in front of her. And I remember Lisa clothes on, just a beautiful mother and daughter picture. And I couldn't get over how beautiful Priscilla was, because I'd always seen her with the big hairdos, and her hair was just straight and loose. And she was absolutely stunning. She was as beautiful.
I will say, she was beautiful at that time.
And I thought, what a couple they make. She never came to the set, however. I asked him one day, I said, does Priscilla ever visit? And he said no.
He expected her to, you know, be locked up within the gates of Graceland while he went out and cavorted around the world. And, you know, she became, you know, like many women in the 1960s and
I don't
1970s,
like this author.
more assured, more
What did she
independent,
write?
fiercely independent.
I don't know.
And found out she could do
So
some
well
things on
known,
her
I
own.
don't
She's
even
a
know
pretty
what her
savvy
books are.
businesswoman in her own right.
Priscilla enrolled in dance classes in Los Angeles, where she fell
Oh,
into
here
a
it
brief
comes.
affair with her teacher. She was crying out for attention, but Elvis was too far away to hear.
We were hearing little rumors around that Priscilla was dating her dance instructor. And
Oh, so Mike was not the first one.
Just stories and all that, but we didn't talk
He
about
was
it
just
much.
the one that
When I
bet.
heard it was happening, I didn't believe it. I said, no, there's no way. And come to find out it was happening.
She wanted to be a star. He found
Uh-huh.
out that she was taking lessons in Graceland. She had a coach coming, giving her lessons, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And,
They were dancing
yeah,
a
she
different
wanted
type
to
of
be a
dance.
star. But you could tell, you know, that's why she married him, to get up there too.
Priscilla's requests for more passion and affection from Elvis slowly
Yeah,
became
Lily,
a
you're
hindrance
right.
to what would be the rebirth of his career.
After Elvis and Priscilla
Oh.
got married, I mean, they were great. They were having, he was happy, she was happy. We did a lot of vacations, traveled to Hawaii, Colorado, up in the Vale, Aspen. I mean, there was a lot of great times. They enjoyed their company, had a lot of good times together. But then it started to change.
You know, that says a lot about her right there.
Mm-hmm.
In the aspect that knowing that
Lisa
that was a
Presley.
huge night for him, the 68 special, I mean, it was a make or break. He knew this was going to be something that was going to either set him back, you know, put him back in motion, or his career was going to be over. And who did she show up with?
Yeah.
That picture that I think it was Kirsty sent me, or
Susan sent it to you.
Susan sent me the picture of him, Elvis on the stage looking that direction. And there they sat, and Jerry Schilling was right. Can you imagine? I said the name right this time. Jerry Schilling was sitting right up there with him. So Jerry knew what was going on, didn't he? Wow.
I'm sure they all knew.
Wow.
I'm sure they all knew.
See, I just learned about Steve Peck in the last few months. I always knew about Mike Stone. But that's just what I've always been saying. I just never was interested in reading up on all this stuff. I was just more into the music and more into that stuff. And anyway.
Elvis went back on the road in '69. Before that, we were in Hollywood making movies. We were together a lot more. So it was a little more normal at that time. But then when we hit the
No
road,
wonder he told us at
now
the
we
end of
traveled a lot.
71 to get the hell
So we
out.
weren't
I
making
also
movies
would
anymore.
have.
We were just
Yeah.
gone
Regardless of what it cost
250
me.
days a year. And that's tough.
Just
and
pay
we
her
would
to
bring
get
our
out.
wives together on the tours once in a while. But
Yeah,
we
you're
were
right,
too busy.
Lily.
You know, when you're on a tour, we did a show every night, in a different city every night. It's not like you got to drag along the wife, and because it's too hectic at the time, so we didn't bring them.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah, she could. Yeah.
Elvis was so hot. Yeah, right. He was hot, all right,
When the
but
guys
not
were
in the
away
right sense.
More
on
ways than
tour,
one.
the girls were the ones who we did fun things together, whether it was going to the movies or shopping or just hanging out at home, you know. But we did things together, and she welcomed all of us. I mean, we were all her friends.
I think the realities of what he's able to do at that time are starting to diminish. For one thing, you know, he has.
Oh,
an
but she said she
exhaustive
never had
concert
friends.
schedule, and you have to remember, he's not just playing Vegas, you know, one weekend every 6 months. He's
Who
playing
the hell
for
is this
months
woman?
at a
What books
time.
did she write?
You know, the
I
man
wanna
is booked.
see her name up there again.
Yeah.
Well, the image is one thing, and a human being is another, you know. So.
How close does it come? How close does the image come to the man?
It's very hard to live up to an image, I'll put it that way.
Elvis proved himself to be the king of rock and roll once again, but it was difficult to return to the lifestyle of loving husband and humble father when the crowds were again shouting his name.
Oh, he was a wonderful father. But, you know, you also have to realize that his lifestyle was not conducive to having children. You know, he was up all night and slept all day, so he'd play with her late in the afternoon. He was a great father. He lavished her with fur coats and stuff when she was like 3. But he loved her. He did. He really loved his daughter.
She had some children her own age to play with. And Elvis slept all day. And she just more or less ran wild.
Lisa could get by with stuff that nobody else could get by with. And you know, she kind of got that personality like her dad.
Things were getting tough. We were always traveling all the time.
Thanks a lot, Patricia. Thanks for joining us.
Home, we'd all take off.
Thanks,
All the
Patricia.
guys would go to Palm Springs. Say we got to get away. We were working hard and left obviously Priscilla, and she would be home. They knew that we were out fooling around. My ex-wife, all the other guys' wives and girlfriends. I mean, we were a wild bunch of young guys with this life we were leading, and it was getting to her. She got a little more held back, and they had more fights, but not out in front of us. I think she had too much respect for Elvis to get in a big fight in front of the guys.
You're glazing over.
So,
You're fighting
I
the.
hear some screaming and yelling in the bedroom once in a while. Couldn't hear completely what it was about, but I'm sure it was about not giving her enough time and attention for her that she deserved.
Elvis loved Priscilla very much at one time, but Elvis would grow out of love. He just wasn't able to commit to one woman. It wasn't in him to be committed in the way a father and a husband should be to a one woman, you know, that he's married to. It wasn't that he did it because he was cocky or conceited, or it's just the way he was. It's just the way he was.
That's a tough life, and you know, and us being around, all the guys around all the time, his buddies.
Yeah, Joe's making it sound like they were all there for him.
Yeah, I don't think he ever complained, did he?
Intimate times themselves, not that often. There was times that, you know, just the two of them would be around, but it changed. It got harder for her.
Between tours, Elvis and
shame.
Priscilla
Look at
tried
that.
working
Joe's
their
ever
problems
the
out.
advocate.
She knew Elvis was having affairs on the road, but he would never admit to it. They decided to take a vacation, hoping to patch things up, but the events that unraveled from there would eventually sour the rest of their marriage.
We were on a vacation in Hawaii one time, Elvis, Priscilla, and all of us, and there was a karate tournament going on in Hawaii. Ed Parker was having this karate tournament over there, and we went to see this thing because Elvis was very much into karate at the time. And there was a fighter in this tournament, Mike Stone.
Yeah, Brent.
Great fighter, probably one of the best karate people.
Oh my God, can you imagine that?
Fast. He was quick. Elvis thought he was wonderful, and we all did. So we said hello to him, met him after the show, and that was it. But then we were in Las Vegas. Elvis was performing there, and Phil Spector, the big Hollywood producer, music producer, came to see Elvis' show in Vegas. And he came backstage, and just so happened his bodyguard happened to be Mike Stone, the karate guy that we saw in Hawaii. And Elvis was more interested in Mike Stone than he was in Phil Spector, so they started talking, you know, and talking about karate. And Mike said, I'm teaching karate in Los Angeles and all that. And he said, Priscilla, you should take karate from this guy. He's great. So that's what really happened. She started taking karate lessons from Mike Stone in Los Angeles when we were out of town. And as time went on, little by little, they started dating on the side, naturally. And I didn't know about, nobody knew about, and then the rumors were starting to get around. And somebody said something to me about, did you know that Priscilla and Mike are dating? I said, no, come on, no way. That wouldn't happen. I mean, I know Priscilla, she would never do that. And
Joe didn't know
I
something?
find out that she is.
In fact, Red told him when Priscilla told him that she was seeing someone else. And Elvis went crazy, man, screaming and yelling.
She told Red because she knew Red was going to tell Elvis. So she didn't even have the decency to tell him outright self.
And kind of leave you alone to do your thing. Yeah, not that way, Red. I didn't mean it that way.
I mean, what's a man gonna say? His wife runs off with somebody. He's living a double standard, like anyone in his position would then and still does now. Not maybe as much, but You know, it was okay for him to be with anybody and everybody that he felt like being with, but when she became independent and fell in love with someone else, it killed him.
Ugly.
Priscilla was upset, you know, that Elvis was never home, out running around the country and dating different women. And she...
Did she really think he was going to stop his career
came to Las Vegas
when he got married?
We were performing there and took
how?
Elvis into the room and they talked. And she told him about it. She said, I'm dating Mike Stone and I want a divorce.
When it ended, Elvis was okay with that. He really was. But he wasn't okay with it being Mike Stone. And he felt double-crossed by this guy to do this. More than at Priscilla, he felt this guy, he wanted this guy dead. At one time, he wanted him dead. He tried to convince me to kill him. And he told Red to get a hitman to kill him when I wouldn't go do it.
She hated the fact that Elvis wasn't around, but I bet she loved the fact of signing Mrs. Presley on his credit card.
Elvis thought about it. Okay, well, I'll let you know. Because he would have never done that. I mean, Elvis was mad and upset, but he would never have somebody killed. So it never happened.
Yeah, true.
Priscilla and Lisa Marie permanently moved into their Los Angeles house, where she continued to date Mike Stone during his divorce from his current wife. Elvis, although saddened and heartbroken, continued
Peck
on
was
with
married
his
when
touring,
she dated him.
falling deeper
He was
and
married
deeper
when
into
she
the
was
arms
dating him.
of prescribed drugs and other lovers.
She had a type.
He'd been deeply, deeply hurt
Yeah.
by what he perceived as Priscilla's betrayal.
Bimbo.
And having another man involved was all the more painful. It would have been one thing if she had said, I don't like your lifestyle, but having another man involved was tremendously destructive to his ego and
Yeah, you're right,
his
Lily.
perception of relationships
Yeah,
and
yeah.
marriage.
Yeah, you're right.
Priscilla was divorcing Elvis. I could understand it completely. You have to realize there's a girl that gets married to Elvis and she's living in a house with 8 other guys, with their wives, with their girlfriends. It's not conducive to a happy life.
Elvis and Priscilla never led a normal life. Elvis never led a normal life, I'll put it that way. A few times alone together, you know, maybe in Palm Springs, you know, different times, but not enough to be a normal marriage by any means whatsoever. Somebody was always around, and that is a tough situation.
Yeah, you're right, Susan. I got that too.
It was rough. It hit him very hard. It took a while for the dust to settle. And when it did, he said, look, I love Priscilla. I respect her.
Knew he'd have to be here somewhere.
It took me a long time to realize we just weren't soulmates. But thank God we were together because we had Lisa, and I taught Priscilla a lot. And we were together, and we're not anymore.
He would say that he didn't love her, that he kind of made a promise when she was very young, and he kept his promises, and so he married her. And but yet, he had a certain sense of ownership that I think, you know, destroyed him. And the fact that she would go on without him, his ego could not handle that. So he had mixed feelings. I mean, I don't know that he was honest with himself if he was saying that he didn't love her, you know, but he did say that.
I think he loved Priscilla, and he always found girls that looked like her afterwards. But I don't think marriage was the right thing for Elvis. You know, he loved women too much.
Even though Elvis and Priscilla rekindled their friendship sometime after, the love they once shared for one another had truly ended. Elvis filed for a divorce on January 8th, his birthday.
Wow.
It was the gift that kept on giving, as you'll hear in this live
Just
performance
what, 5
from
days before the
1974.
The thing I'm trying to get across is we're the very best of friends, and we always have been. Our divorce came about not because of another man or another woman, but because of the circumstances involving my career. And it was just an agreement that I didn't think it was fair to her. So therefore, we just made an agreement to always be friends and be close and care. Well, after that, I got her a mink coat. She got me, listen to this, tonight, $42,000 white Rolls Royce.
Yeah, with your money.
That's the type of relationship that we have, you know, and it's not a bad setup, is it, fellas?
Elvis and Priscilla had a love for each other after it was over with. but he certainly didn't want to go back with her once he had gone through what he went through and got it over with. He didn't want to go back with her, and she didn't want to come back with him. She was out there doing her life.
I know that he wanted very much to have a special marriage. He had an idealistic view of what his marriage would be like, and he very much wanted to have a woman who was his wife, who was a virgin, who was just in love with him. When his marriage failed and that family fell apart and his child, you know, wasn't with him all the time anymore, I think that really took a lot of his steam away.
I don't know Priscilla, but I just, from the things that I watched and I perceived about this girl, I think it would have been nice if he would have stayed with her. I don't know what their problem was, but I could have settled it. I would have called her Mademoiselle Gouletouche, and he would just, everything would have been fine.
Really?
Elvis immersed himself in his concerts, substituting his adoring audience for the loss of his marriage. Priscilla continued raising Lisa Marie in Los Angeles, introducing her to a lifestyle that didn't primarily consist of overindulgence and pampering. Lisa alternated between the sane and the surreal by living with Priscilla, then staying with Elvis.
Lisa Marie, she was a doll, but she was, she could maneuver us pretty well because she was so cute. She walked on her tippy toes, and she would come into our dressing room and hang out, and we formed a little club, and she was our treasurer, and we put a quarter in at every meeting, and she would hold the money, and we'd never see it again.
That's Shaky Green. He was a pretty well-known comic back in those days. I think he was just pulling a comedy routine there, trying to be funny.
In the early afternoon of August the 16th, 1977, as Lisa Marie waited for her father to awaken to say goodbye, a horrifying discovery was made. Elvis Aaron Presley, at the age of 42, was found dead in his Graceland bathroom.
Why do they always have to add the bathroom thing?
Elvis Presley left his father Vernon to act as executor of his estate until Lisa Marie reached the age of 25. Vernon, while in ill health, made a surprising decision that would forever alter the course of the Elvis Presley estate. He chose Priscilla to succeed him as executor and handed over the entire Presley fortune.
Oh, here we go. They're going to give her credit.
When Elvis died, a new Priscilla was born.
Were it not for Priscilla
A more
Presley,
greedy one.
for all we know, Graceland would have been torn down by now. You know,
It was not
that
her.
Elvis memorabilia, you know, reflecting his
It was not her. It was the
For all we know,
business
parts
people
of
she was
Graceland would be
involved
offered on
with.
eBay
Lady.
or
She said
something.
that herself. She said herself
you know,
she had no
turned it
idea.
into a thriving, you know, it's a tourist mecca. And in many ways, I see Graceland as a symbol of an astounding American success story.
Mm-hmm.
Priscilla's business sense was only part of her blossoming rebirth. After trying her hand at modeling, she ventured into acting, something she'd always wanted to do. The television show Dallas would be her start.
Everyone should have a friend like you.
After 5 years in television came Priscilla's film debut in the blockbuster Naked Gun.
Oh, I wish that was real.
Yeah.
I like cops. All right. How hot and wet do you like it?
The Naked Gun, from the files of Police Squad.
Yes, he can. Business
It may
sense.
have
You're
been
right.
destiny that brought Elvis and Priscilla together in 1958, and it may have been fate that divided them in 1973. But the absolute love they shared for one another will forever reunite them in the hearts of millions for eternity.
Well, at least we didn't have to deal with Priscilla herself in that.
Yeah.
Well, guys, 3.5 hours. I think I'm ready to start getting ready to wind down the night. I got to get tomorrow's show together. But thanks everybody for hanging. I think it was fun. Knocked out a couple more episodes of the definitive and had some good conversation. So, so we got adios to everybody. Lily, thanks. Den for you. Thanks for hanging around. Susan. Who else we got?
Kirsty, Brent, C-Cats.
Brent. Is Kathleen still around?
I think
it was Christy Marie. No. David Long. Anyway, everybody that visited, everybody that hung around, thanks a lot. Tomorrow we got at 1 o'clock, we got the coffee date. We're gonna go over some stuff. We're gonna vote on the picture. And then we're gonna just talk some more about Careless Love. See if we get close to finishing that book off. So
hey, then for you, I'm sorry, brother. It's 2:40 in the morning. I don't have gas in the tank for that one.
What's that?
The one more. Hey.
Yeah, it's a nighttime now, so
I'm burned out, man.
All right, guys. Thank you very much. Y'all have a good evening, good morning, and we will chat with you later. Thanks a lot.
Thanks, guys.
Bye.